Hey, what's going on, man? Come on in. You ready to play?
Okay, there we are. Jesus Christ.
Can okay.
It's so just stupid. What changed? Nothing changed. You know the deal. What's up, everybody?
Yo.
How you doing? I was going to ask. What what did you say?
Yeah, I just got a notification on my phone because like usually important news reaches me. You know, it seems like the Canadian curling team has won gold.
Oh,
against Great Britain.
Wow!
So congratulations to our men.
Hey,
you know,
good
performance.
Good job.
Fighting adversity.
Hell yeah.
You know,
True North, strong and free. Let's go, Canada.
Not easy, but we did it.
You can do it. Let's go, girl.
That's right.
Yeah. just fucking. You know the Jay-Z and just like just fucking fingers. Okay, that's cool. It's good to know. Good to know. Damn, uncontested.
Add this to the offensive movements,
offensive gestures. You know? Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Britain. How you like that?
Uncontested. All right. How we doing? How we doing over here? Yeah, we're flying. We got a fast and loose get into fighting games for y'all today. So, figured we would just chill a little bit, catch up on some of the news. I've had a chance to discuss a bunch of what's been going on Castle Super Beast already, but Reggie's not caught up on some of that stuff. So I was kind of like, oh, have you heard of this or seen this or that? And he's like, no, not really. I was like, oh, why don't we just cover a little bit of what's going on? You know, so
another catch up.
Yeah, I figure that'd be a decent way to go. And I was also thinking it would be fun to I'm trying to workship an idea, and I'm not 100% sure on like
how to proceed,
the execution of it exactly. But overall, I've been talking a bit over the last two streams about the possibility of just running the set with people in random games. People maybe like sending a message or like a dono or something for like, yo, see me in this or in that, and then I've got a bunch of shit open. I've got fucking everything. I've got I've got every fighting game practically, whether it's Steam, Fightcade, or etc. So I'm kind of just like, yeah, see, like, you know, let's run the set in a bunch of random shit, and
Sounds like a plan.
I think that might be kind of fun.
It'll be fun,
you know. So yeah, that might be the vibe. I think too. Let me see here. Y'all feeling the Nuja Best vibe? No problem. No problem. We can chill. We can enjoy that.
Oh, hello. That's sick.
Yeah. We just chilling today. No big deal. No big deal.
You know, a bit sunny outside too. You know, you take those. Sorry, you too.
So I'm thinking, I guess first things first, we've got, oh, well, this is not going to be in the VOD anyway, so it's ultimately fine. First things first, I think, the 2XKO update would be decent to cover. So,
news, huh?
Indeed. And let me just switch this over to the proper playlist, actually. Once we're over here. Okay, I'll just hit that one already. Yeah, I figure a couple of stuff's been going on with 2XKO. So in particular, the announcement was after half the team got laid off and all that shit.
Okay, yeah.
Right? That was we talked about.
That was the bad news.
Yes, you know, and
but now the good news.
So I feel like
forget all the bad.
Well, it's not really to forget all the bad.
We don't forget. Okay, good.
It's it's hardly that. It is, hey, yo, Tokan, shut the fuck up. What you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing? Get out there and make some noise and keep the distraction going over here. Don't let anyone go look in any other directions.
Everybody had something to say that week. Huh?
I mean, like Tokan was like, work? Oh, now?
That's happening now?
Now, you know? So,
yo.
Indeed. So, on the 2XKO side of things, we got
that looks rad.
Yeah. I don't know much about Akali except for the KDA like music video and team and costume stuff that broke containment. That's like you know that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? No? Oh, okay.
This is all I know of Akali right now on the screen.
Okay, cool. Well, yes, a baby continues to exist in my life, just off camera.
Life.
Indeed. So a
video?
Okay, so
music video,
this is all I really knew, right? Is there was a K-pop group in League of Legends called KDA, right?
I never heard of this.
And basically all of these are all characters from League of Legends with a music video, and these are all outfits. So like there's fucking what's her face? Ari, and then all these other characters, and this got really, really popular, right? So it like
yeah, I could see it becoming pretty popular.
Yeah, it broke containment, to be perfectly honest. And if I'm gonna let me just mute this for a second. So I'll pull it. Let me see if I can pull it up. Like there's a whole like Pop Stars, I believe. This is the original. Yeah, this is the original music.
Beer.
Yeah, this is the original music video, I want to say. Pentakill was the first one. They were a heavy metal group. Okay, well, regardless, the first that I heard about that was very, very viral was amongst the different music videos they were doing was this one. This went extremely hard. You had this part, you had that part, right? And it's ultimately promoting skins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
With a K-pop recipe.
Yeah, it was incredible. And they do incredible animation, right? They do a really good job with all of that stuff.
What do you need for a good K-pop song? You need a bit of Korean, a bit of English, a rap section,
of course,
and a do.
And they did all of that.
And they did all that. Okay, yeah, sold.
Yes. Not to mention, of course, that prior to Arcane existing, there's a history of League of Legends based music videos that were all like high budget, high quality. There's a fuck ton of them.
Right. I did hear about that.
There's a fuck ton of them. Yeah. So this one is big, and that's why it was like, oh, these characters in this group, these are a bunch of different girls from the game, in K-pop alternate reality.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a massive sell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was the whole time I was like, oh, who should be next? And it's like, the character from The Thing that everybody who doesn't even know League of Legends saw, Ninja Girl Akali over here.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. And the way this got leaked too was funny, is because the whole strategy had been up to this point. They did fake leaks.
Okay.
So like they did like the it's a shot of Warwick's foot from the Riot Brazil thing. Or, what's that? Timo is on the tutorial page?
Oh my god.
Or like accidental blitzcrank over, right? So those are all like fake leaks, but then they just kind of go with it or whatever. But I think that part of that strategy has also been like, if real leaks happen, we just go, yeah, here it is.
Okay.
Right. I think the fake leak thing also means we immediately just make real leaks official.
Okay.
So this was somebody who was working on the game.
An artist, right?
An artist who was no longer at Riot, like accidentally in a video showing the work on Blitzcrank that they did, had a screenshot that had a second life bar that said Akali on it. And that
was the leak.
It's confirmation right there. And I think you see the stage for like a second too, you know? And so people went, oh, well, this person worked at Riot. They don't work there anymore. This is not a marketing thing. This is a legit mistake. And then the person went and took the video down.
But it was too late because it's the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next day, they went, all right, cat's out of the bag. It's Akali and Senna. Here's two characters. Which also, again, you want to probably come up off of such shitty news with the team getting halved and everything like that.
Right.
And again, I'm kind of just repeating some of the previous stuff I've said elsewhere, but typically in a bigger studio and a bigger team, downsizing on a team is not unheard of depending on where you're at in the game's life cycle.
Right.
But usually people that are no longer necessary for like concept and creation, etc., whatever, move on to another project. Usually. Yeah. But in this case, with the history, the money, the costs, and everything else, this is like no. The game just launched on console, didn't do what it needed to do, and here you go. But that being said, 80 is still a large number compared to other fighting games out there, I would imagine. So yeah, that's the deal. So anyway, not to rehash all of that, but the update basically confirmed. We don't have to go through it point by point, but
Unconquerable, thank you.
Yeah, by Sean. But we basically were talking about how
push dual play and core gameplay and community programs.
So when they said the game will change, people didn't know what that meant, and it was very vague.
Yeah, that never means anything until you see it.
And like that led to a lot of negative, I'd say, interpretation of like the game you're playing is going to look different. Right, most people interpreted that in the worst way possible, which is like
don't know what they're doing.
It's going to completely go upside down. To which I didn't interpret it that way. I interpreted that as basically what they said before was combo length is too long for certain situations, and there's 40-second Warwick combos that are silly. So I imagine those will go away, but at the same time, most of what the game is will continue to exist. There's probably just going to be some sort of change to proration. Something like that. Right, would make sense. But in the discussion about like in the discussion about what was changing and all that stuff came like essentially are they going to dumb it down? Is the mix too much? Is it whatever? And so they're kind of going like, we want the game to be something that has a high skill ceiling, skill ceiling, right? And
it's kind of cheap.
local duo mode, something that I've been saying is like, it's pretty silly that that's not in the game.
Yeah.
Right? That's a really easy, just like, yep, encourage people to play with their friends.
Okay.
The whole thing is 2 people. So it's almost like they like listened to that discussion.
I hope so.
Right, a second before, and then went like, yeah, we're doing that. Right?
Okay. Top priority, and they're working to get it into the game as quickly as possible. Thank you.
And what I was saying is like low floor, high ceiling seems to be the goal of what they're going for, and like they just kind of iterated. That's what they're doing.
We're not gonna dumb it down.
And they're gonna continue with the TO stuff, etc. They're gonna touch Yasuo and Ekuo. They're gonna screen tearing, things that we talked about, ranked being being skewed. These are all things that are as well. And then the
there was a clip.
2 clips they showed.
Oh, she sliced him.
Ibuki.
She sliced him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just put out a little clip. It's not even a trailer or anything like that. It's just straight up here's a little bit of what this character is.
Do it again. Okay, teleport.
Yeah.
If that goes full screen.
You like your chip, you like your Ibuki, you like your ninjas. You know?
Yeah, no, that looks cool.
Looks like a character that can press many buttons.
If you can teleport in this game with tags and like you throw a projectile, you teleport, you call your assist, you tag, freestyle.
So, I guess teleport is an S button and that you do out of normals. Like behind.
That seemed kind of raw, yeah?
Yeah. You think you have to stock it maybe?
Damn.
It can't just be free, right?
Who knows, huh? I have no idea. I don't know how she works in League of Legends, so...
I don't know how she works in League of Legends.
If chat is like, oh yeah, no, she teleports for free and she's annoying and she kills you and she stuns you.
It's accurate to the identity.
That's usually what I assume they're doing. Because they're saying Teemo is not supposed to be like a game changer, but he's super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess they failed when he came out because he was more than annoying.
Well,
and then Yasuo are heroes.
Let's find out.
Assassin's Mark. Dealing spell damage to a champion creates a ring of energy around them. Exiting that ring empowers Akali's next attack with bonus range and damage.
Okay.
Okay, and then she's spinning her.
She can put a. Exiting that ring empowers Akali's next attack with bonus range and damage. Okay. 5-point strike.
5 kunai, dealing damage based on her bonus attack damage and ability power and slowing.
Twilight Shroud.
Yeah. Drops a cover of smoke, briefly gains move speed. While inside the shroud, Akali becomes invisible and unable to be selected by enemy spells and attack.
Oh, I guess this is the teleport kind of equivalence, because we didn't see smoke in her kit, but like this in a weird way you can kind of equate this into that.
Yeah. Flip backwards, fire a shuriken forward, magic damage. The first enemy or smoke cloud hit is marked. Recast to dash to the marked target, dealing additional damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Oh, there's more. Akali leaps in a direction, damaging enemies she strikes. Recast, Akali dashes in a direction, executing all enemies she strikes. Executing like one shot? Oh boy.
I guess so. Yeah. So I'm gonna interpret this as the teleport. You know?
Yeah. We're just seeing it happening faster.
Unless it's like, is it? Well, that's like the super is the teleport. Okay. Oh, I guess there's no attack on the first part there.
Yeah, this thing will execute.
Oh, okay. The first part.
This does a bit of damage.
Yeah. Okay, right. It's the first part that is the teleport. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So
that's what I find interesting, how they convert the League to the 2x KO.
Yeah.
Know?
That's a really fun part of making it faithful. In like for better and for worse, keeping it faithful is like a fun bit. Yeah. And then Senna was a
there's another clip. Okay.
Indeed. girl with a big gun, and everyone was rightfully wondering, like, we've got 2 of those already.
Yep. We got Jinx and we got Kate. Oh, but that's a fat gun. Is she from the Ambessa crew or?
No, she's from a different world entirely. So Piltover and Zon, the world in Arcane, is a completely different place that these characters are from, which is why people are happy about it, because they're sick of characters from this one continent.
Yeah, they're sick.
They want people from other places.
And Darius is like Noxus.
For Noxus.
Yeah,
he shouts it, so I guess so.
It. I'm sure they're nice people.
So, how do you make the big gun girl different for the 3rd time? You swing the gun around like a melee weapon.
Get in there.
And it's almost like...
And then what the heck was that?
Yeah, so some sort of install green state of sorts. Yeah, her style's cool. It's almost like with the big gun, Unica.
Yeah.
Right? We just saw that style of character a second ago. Kind of like that.
Seeing some similarities.
Especially the melee into shot sort of thing. What am I doing? Senna, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Alright, so what's her deal?
Sacred order known as the Sentinels of Light. Only to be killed, her soul imprisoned in a lantern by Thresh.
Oh, everyone wants Thresh.
Everyone wants Thresh. That's the name that I've heard often.
And her existence and her stage confirms Thresh. Confirm, I guess. Is what they're saying.
Absolution. When units die near Senna, their souls are periodically trapped by the black mist. She can attack these souls to free them, absorbing the mist that held them in death. Mist fuels her relic cannon with increased attack damage, range, and critical strike chance. Attacks from Senna's relic cannon take longer to fire, deal bonus damage, and grant her a portion of her target's move speed.
Okay, so she can do some sort of after image thing while she hits you. That could be a buff if they wanted to.
And then absorb.
She
takes your speed. That's crazy.
Piercing darkness. From the twin barrels of her relic cannon, she fires a unified beam of light and shadow through a target, healing allies and damaging enemies. I think we saw her do the big shot. Yeah. I think we saw something.
That would be crazy if she could heal her partner.
Oh wow! If it did both,
like you cast the assist, you goes
this thing.
Yeah. Well, I think
that I kind of was like those.
You gotta be like
if
creative,
if you commit to making it accurate, then it would damage partners and heal allies. So
that would be sick.
That'd be very interesting. Healing needs to be
a thing.
Really careful in fighting games, though.
True, especially with how fast you call assists in this game and stuff. And yeah, that's crazy.
Senzu bean. I mean, you have to be extremely careful about how you balance that, right? If you limit it, make it metered, make it a super. I don't know. You'd have to do something careful, right?
Last embrace
sends out mist. And okay, looks like you can get snared.
Yeah, get stuck in the same space.
Okay, throw out a little. Which it's funny because like gun and trap is what all the big gun girls have been, but finding different ways to make that applicable, I guess, is the variety. Curse of the Black Mist.
Senna draws the mist she has stored in her weapon into a storm around her, embracing darkness and becoming a wraith within. Allies who enter the area are camouflaged and also appear as wraith as the mist shrouds them. Wraiths gain increased move speed, are unselectable, and hide their identities.
Okay, so we saw her go into wraith mode at the end of the clip there, but in terms of what that turns into in a fighting game context, that's up in the air. I mean, camouflage is a weird thing that doesn't really work that well because you have to make it either disgustingly like invisible or partially visible, which makes it
Which makes no
useless.
sense, yeah.
You know, so yeah. But increased move speed and other buffs of some kind are all valid. Dawning Shadow.
Senna calls upon the relic stones of fallen sentinels, splitting her relic cannon into a holy array of shadow and light. She then fires a global beam that shields allies from harm while damaging enemies caught in the center.
Big beam super. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. You know what it could be? It could be like not healing, but like single hit of armor is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, never mind.
Send a Braum team.
I was gonna say, like, instead of healing, like some sort of temporary buff state, that's like more chill than that. But yeah, restore great health is a reasonable way to play that. Yeah, you could tone it down with that for sure. But yeah, that's who they showed off. And
cool.
And the new stage as well. And that's the deal.
Well, thank you, Unconquerable.
Yep. So that's cool. And I guess the next question is like, do you do a big old double drop and go, oh my god, and blow everyone away?
You know what? The more they drop, the better.
They could use it
at this point. Yeah,
They could use every.
Those are some rookie numbers. You need to pump these up.
They could use every dub.
Yeah.
They could right now. So there was that, and then the other thing that happened was the Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls Unbreakable X-Men trailer.
Okay, so I'll have to admit that the beta feeling I had made me not care about the reveal of this trailer.
Yeah.
But then people told me, oh no, if you look, there are things that changed in it.
There are.
And they are more optimistic about it.
They are. And I'm hoping that it gets to a better place, because I don't
want things to fail.
Exactly, especially when they look really cool and have a good appeal, which
right? I don't look at Steam numbers.
The characters revealed good. Continue doing so.
Come on.
The characters revealed here got a lot of people excited, and you want a game that holds up to that, right? So.
Okay, that's not Kandahar. Okay. Actually, I didn't see this.
They had some animated budget trailers coming.
The air trembles.
Also dubs.
Mother Earth herself senses the coming battle. The world may hate us, we still have to save it.
Okay, this is where I
yeah, that was Gladiator getting
The
fucked
true
up.
team is unbreakable.
Unbreakable X-Men.
You cannot stand against the storm. Feel the power of Mother Earth.
Good dub. Magic.
So everybody's hyped for that?
Rihanna!
You were hyped for Magic.
Always. Magic's super cool.
Yeah.
She's getting super pushed in everything.
I'll show you how the X-Men
Canadian fighting game characters always have armor.
Damn.
It's our heritage.
Oh, I'm such a mark for Wolvie.
And he's a different Wolverine. And
what is this?
The deepest pull.
I am all that remains of
Anime.
technology.
Okay, so Danger is a deep cut.
What is
Surrender
this?
to avoid further danger.
She's got a Giga Drill Breaker.
Finish this.
We are stronger
New mechanic.
together.
Oh, what's going on?
The Assemble Super. The Assemble system. So there is a reason to build all 4 of your characters. It seems like in addition to having a just DHC,
Yeah.
like switch from one character to the other thing, there's all 4 characters doing I guess a super
Okay.
mechanic as well. So that's a reward for unlocking all 4 of your characters.
Now there is actually incentive to do it.
An incentive, yes. What you see there in terms of danger is the waifufication of a character called Danger, who is the incarnation of the Danger Room.
Oh. What?
As Shi'ar technology. However, this is the original design. And I think the glow up is significantly improved.
Yeah. No, they were like, make it look,
I think the glow up is much better.
make it look more like bait. Yeah.
Yeah. So hooray for anime. We'll take it. Especially when she gets a Giga Drill Breaker and a Moonlight Butterfly, which is turn A Gundam. Right?
Okay.
So she's anime doing anime with anime.
In an anime game.
Yes, you know. And here's the thing too, in addition to like the that original design being kind of whack in my opinion, I also found Shi'ar Empire stuff to be pretty boring in X-Men. Like, at least the stuff that I saw, it wasn't the most interesting side of it. The space stuff with Xavier and so on. So anything you can do to glow that up and make it work, go for it. So yeah, so you had that, right? These are not just like obvious pulls with like Scott and, you know, a couple others and stuff. It's like you want to see them. But going for Magic as a like, hey, she's a new character, she's a newly pushed person showing up in Rivals and everything, super dope. And then, oh my god, they went into the bowels and pulled one out.
Yeah,
is like good picks, right? And you have to have Wolverine, of course, right? So good stuff on that. Some of the stuff too is that like the assists are not just doing their
generic.
They're not doing the generic assist exactly. They're coming in and doing the uniques, so that allows for like a little more like, you know, unique setup and stuff, and a little more unique combo routes and utility for each person on your team. So that sounds good. I'm glad to hear that they're taking feedback and, you know,
that's
making
so
changes.
weird. It's such a big change, you know. So like, did they plan it the previous way and hear the feedback and change it, or was it just not ready yet?
They changed it twice now.
Okay.
Because the first version of the game that people saw was even more restrictive with combos.
Okay.
And then the one that people got to play at EVO or a little bit after then changed their system around again and added the stuff where... Remember the first time you saw Spider-Man do a spider sting and then he tag as an assist and then they tag into him?
Yeah.
You couldn't do that before.
Okay.
So you see there's the trailer where he comes in and does an anti-air and then tags in the middle of the anti-air to continue, was something that the first version of the game could not do.
Okay.
So this is like Strive 1.0 type, this is Arc Revo early ass Strive situation where you're seeing the game change drastically, or not drastically, but they're changing around the tag system a bunch to how restrictive it is between these builds. I think they're going to need to do more than that. I think they're making changes based on like not wanting to feel too much like Marvel versus Capcom, and to feel like it's their own arc system.
Different, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, this is not Marvel versus Capcom, even though you're seeing Marvel characters fighting on a team, right? So they're kind of they want to make it like different by having the assemble thing, and you build up your team slowly and all that, but you don't want to take away just how good it feels to move and do stuff, and, you know, and so on as you play it. So yeah, I hope they keep doing that. I hope they keep taking feedback on it and loosening it up, because you know, we're certainly not the only ones that felt this way. I will say that like releasing some hype characters and getting people excited is a good way to get everyone like going, oh shit, let's go check that shit out.
Ah, look at this.
So, you know, and that'll always work. Like they also announced 20 characters, which is, it's weird to say, but it's like that's twice as many as 2XKO, and yet still you're gonna feel that number run out when you're fighting 4v4, unless people don't tag often and stick to their characters. So hard to say. But you go back to some other fighters. I mean, yeah, like literally, you're looking at the old X-Men versus Street Fighter games and stuff, and it's like 16 characters on a block. It's like,
Yeah.
you know. So I hope for the best. I hope that the system keeps changing and everything, and in the end, like that getting the gameplay getting better in that way is not going to. It doesn't affect necessarily how many people initially jump on, but it's going to affect how many people stick around.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, I was saying this on the podcast before, but like the last thing I'd want this to be is a JoJo All-Star Battle situation where it looks fucking phenomenal and it's super exciting to see it because it's a amazing representation of like as a fan game of the not fan game, it's an amazing representation of the thing you like, but then playing it just doesn't feel as fun, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at on it, you know. I hope that ArcSys, I mean, it's ArcSys, right? Like
they should deliver.
Yeah. So you know, they have people on the team as well that are like, you know, they're not just Japan FGC, but they have like North American FGC people on the team as well. So you know, the willingness to loosen the game up, allow more freedom, allow, you know, I mean, the speed was something. I don't know how it's hard to really pin down, like, okay, the speed of the game, there's times where it felt slow, there's times where it felt okay, but I think the constant stage transitions made however slow it felt feel even slower.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it adds a whole lot of like, all right, get back to it. fight, transition. Yeah.
What we can say though is that, like, at the very least, as far as roster picks go, they're showing that like they're pulling some interesting stuff here, so that's cool. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what's been going on there. Oh, I forgot to pull this up, but like, I thought Akali looked cool.
Yeah.
And folks were going, yeah, but that looks nowhere near as cool as original Akali looked, which they then showed this. So the original design is close. This is fan art from somebody who I believe worked officially on. Yeah. So this was an artist at Riot that worked on this, but this is not an official thing.
Okay.
Which it looks like it was, but then I guess wasn't, because I think there was some discussion about like animation clarity and like baggy pants being a bit of a problem.
Okay.
But this original version of her with the baggy pants and ninja vibe with the rope belt and stuff is pretty sick.
Yeah.
And that's a cooler look than I would say the fitness gear we got in the current version. You know?
Tight stuff.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is
maybe they'll get back to it. Who knows?
Yeah, $30 later.
Oh, there's a rotation model at the bottom.
It's like, yeah, no, $30 later.
Yeah.
It's like, you know. Anyway, that's what I expect at the very least. But that is a cooler Ninja Girl than the one they're currently showing.
That back tattoo as well. Holy moly!
Oh, they took that away. That was a detail that was gone. Yeah. Huh. Let me pull up the old one for a second. Yeah, true.
Oh, there's a bit of ink on her right arm.
On the arm over here.
But I don't know about the back.
Huh. Yeah.
Oh, there's a bit of tattoo.
It's there, but it's
there.
definitely simplified, right? Yeah. It's definitely simplified
Mhm.
compared to like what's going on there. Oh, the different express. Yeah, this is just an in-game model, dude. Like this is no like you're an artist at Riot. You're telling me this is fan art. Get out. Like this is an official asset that did not get used. Like there's no way it isn't. You know. So
Damn, that looks so good.
yeah, and I'm assuming that if everyone goes, "Yo, fucking stop, run it," then I think they imagine it eventually would, right? So yeah. That's what's going on with Tokon and 2XKO.
That's good.
Uh,
And then at the same time, we got like Avatar. That's like.
all right. So we can talk about Toph Bei Fong.
Just being a hero.
We can talk about Toph Bei Fong. AKA one of the coolest, most unique kits for a fighting game character.
Yes.
So good.
Ready for a royal butt whooping, sad boy?
Aura farming, man.
Called him Sad Boy.
Yo, come here.
Get in the corner, Agano style. Yep.
Boulder with the armored flow movement.
Like a true Canadian.
Badger mold pillars. And throw into it. Oh! Dropping bows on him. Drop bows on him.
Platform ride.
That is so sick.
The platform, dude. And this.
That is so
What's happening right there is so crucial.
Oh.
Yo, metal bending.
Dong. Got the smear frame.
Smear frames. So good. So good.
Yes.
She's so cool.
Yes.
She's so cool. So
And Tokon is like, shit, they did it again. This motherfucker
I mean, listen.
stealing our thunder.
I mean, not really, right? Because what you're supposed to do is stick your fingers out and catch it and throw it back, right?
Dude.
You gotta learn how to catch that thunder. We don't steal it.
We don't steal the thunder.
We catch it and redirect. Ah! Man, yeah. So this is such a fucking creative character, and so everything I've seen of her is so sick because like firebending, airbending, waterbending, right? You have a movement button with each of those characters, and it's very clear that like how you move around the screen is like amplified by the element. For earthbending, though, you need to be sturdy. You're a rock, right? The boulder, even. So, she's got that armored dash you saw.
Yep.
That avoids highs. But, like, for the most part, she's all about armor and staying in. And you can see that every time she, like, you get that, like, yeah, that little green flash there, right? That's armored. So every time you see that, that's an armored hit, right? The thing with her popping up, you get launchers out of the walls that come up, and then cornering you with them means that like it's not about her moving you to the corner, it's about bringing the corner into you, Agano style, breaking you through it to get relaunched, right? So sick. And then the platform is like the sickest shit because instead of an air combo, you ride up and do grounded normals while up there.
That's so sick.
You know, and then you can choose to jump off or you can choose to stay on, and then there's the regular version where it goes straight up, or the better version where it moves.
It moves.
And then you can like not, because when you're doing, what happens when you do grounded combos, right? You get pushed out.
So you needed to...
What if you added forward momentum, right? In addition to a wall behind them.
This is like a way cooler version of what Crack does in Rivals of Ether.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, Yeah, you got it. You got it.
right? And then also, you want better than a get over here, pull you in on the earth, you know? So yeah, I'm not going to you, you're coming to me. Like, it's such a unique, fun way to design a character, and I can't wait to see like what's possible, because you got to think outside the box to use this setup. You know, you have armor, you have the wall, and you have lifting yourself up.
Yeah, you're using the space even more than like your own power in a way.
And
It's
again, this is a game where you have that flow state button where you can just pull them in and get defensive about it, you know? Sad boy.
That was so good.
Yeah. And don't forget too, when you're in burnout, if you eat a level 3, game over. Match done, you know? So like there's some wild fucking moments that are gonna happen here, right? There's massive punish combo style counter hits that happen when you get thrown in burnout, or no, when you get thrown out of a flow. There's a huge opening that happens after that, and then you got this. So yeah, no, Toph is fucking cool.
This game wanted her, and now we want her even more. Just drop the game. Just give us the game.
Beta is happening very shortly, I believe.
Oh yeah, I feel like I saw a tweet or something.
Yeah, next weekend.
Next weekend. Oh, let's remember that.
And she's gonna be in it.
Let's go.
So gonna keep
tutorial.
Gonna keep some eyes out over there. Yeah, I know. So there you go. That's a little bit of what's been going on. And the only other discourse that has been happening that you might have missed was the big article.
Right. I didn't have time to look at the big article.
So I sent it to you before.
You sent it to me,
and yeah, and I didn't get all the way through. I got through most of it, but you know what? Since we're here and we're catching up on what's going on, why not?
Might as well.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone through most of this. It might take a little minute, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this. Right? So yeah, you can take us through it.
Right. Fighting games have a product design problem. Topic: fighting games released on February 13th, revised on February 19th. Fighting games in 2026 are floundering, with everything not called Street Fighter 6 relegated to the trash bin of history. Oh no. The worst and most likely outcome is that other studios look at this and think SF6 is the destiny of the genre and try to mimic its game design to regain some relevance. This will predictably fail, and the genre's future will ultimately be at the mercy of Street Fighter 7. Now, that's already in the parking lot. Anyway. I present another path forward, one that would allow the genre to genuinely evolve into something greater, rather than follow its current path of devolution into mediocrity and irrelevance. This vision is born from the following observations, which I will argue for. First, fighting games are currently reaching roughly 1/10 of their potential audience. 2, changing the core game mechanics will have almost no effect on the genre reaching this potential. And 3, there are multiple other dimensions the genre can and must evolve along in order to reach this audience.
So right off the bat, if I can say, I feel two minds about these types of issues immediately. As somebody who's been playing these games for a lifelong time and have been enjoying them and wants other people to enjoy them as well, there's a part of me that truly inside kind of goes, yeah, fuck all this, I'm just gonna play, I don't care. Like, regardless of whether it grows or does whatever, I'm just gonna enjoy what's here. Right? There's a part of me that's like, yeah, I would like other people to come and enjoy this as well, and like I hope that things can improve. There's an amount of control we have over that as players, and if you're making the games, then you have even more control over it. As somebody who's pretty much a player and then that streams and stuff like that, I want to encourage good vibes, and I've talked about wanting to encourage people to feel the same way that I did back in the day with like fun local experiences as opposed to more hostile online experiences, which is tricky. But I kind of do. I'm like, oh my god, we've been talking about fighting games forever, and I'm just gonna play them and have fun.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of me inside that's
ignore
like
the noise and be like, yeah, I can still enjoy this.
So I have that inside while still looking at this critically.
Doesn't matter that nobody cares. Dubstep is still cool.
I like a good wub wub. The wub wub sound effect is unique. I don't hate it.
Yeah. So wait, go up to those 2 points because fighting games are reaching 1/10 of their potential audience. There's a lot of games out there, and there are a lot of gamers. 1/10 to me sounds like an overestimation. Just saying that changing the core mechanics will have almost no effect on the genre reaching this potential. I think that's true. I think currently it doesn't matter what you put in the game. People will play the game no matter like
good or bad,
how complicated or not it is.
All the quality of the core mechanics decides is how long the game lasts.
Yeah.
And if you're already interested in fighting game mechanics and you're invested, then you are going to care about that stuff because you want the game to last longer. But it does not affect the initial spark of attention. I agree.
Yeah. And there are multiple other dimensions the genre can and must evolve along to reach this audience. I think that's true. We're used to it. Getting a fighting game is just versus.
Yep.
Barely a lobby and like, yeah, this is the game.
Yep.
Single player. I don't care about arcade mode. I don't care about blah blah blah. But
I have said forever that it's like World Tour is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. And it's actually impressive how well it did,
but it needs to be like not silly, and it needs to be not silly. What's the right way to word this? It needs to be good enough to call people back to it regularly, not just when a new character drops or so, but like the content should be compelling, etc. I've also said that when people jump and load up to pull every other genre into the comparison point again, the main thing about jumping on Apex or jumping on Rivals or jumping on fucking whatever league, any other game, and what I want people to be able to do is jump on a fighting game and load it with their friends on a Friday night and play together. So you should be able to make a group that can train together, go play ranked together, hang out together, jump on comms, and have a group experience, because being in a room with people in real life is super fun, especially if you know those people. And losing a bunch to a person that you know that you're friends with, there's a feeling of fuck,
I'll get you next time,
right? And I described how when we were at Funzo and I was using Blanca and I was dusting every geef, and then PTS1 sat down and I ran a long set with him and he did a Siberian Blizzard and caught my air ball out of the air, and I got up and fucking had a beer. I'm like, that was the wildest. And like losing felt great. Right? And the context of making people making people like, I want that experience to be shared. It's so much fun.
Dude.
Right?
If I could rank and have like friends around, it would make it so much better.
It would make it so much better to play ranked with
doing
people.
Rank alone is the most molding thing in history.
Thank you.
Like, and I can't explain it. It's just like you're alone and you're like trying to be rational, but no, it doesn't work, man. It hurts. It actually hurts.
Thank you. I need you echoing this point here, dude. Because you just get salty because you just lose and you feel upset. And if you're new to the genre, if you're old to the genre, you're still salty. If you're new to the genre, you're like, what the fuck is even happening? What am I supposed to do? It feels super frustrating, and you're just spit back out. The game doesn't do, and like they don't explain or whatever, right? Something that we can do instead of making ghosts and shadows and AI copies or whatever is, like I said, give some advice, right? Suggest that, hey, when you block this super, there's a way to punish it like this. You want to go try it out, do the things that like Tekken started doing that a little bit, but these are all little things to just like, and if you do that as part of a group, right? Because again, when you're part of a group, your friends might be like, bro, you don't know what you're supposed to do there. Try this or whatever.
Dude, that's negative. Like, you can punish that. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right? Or they might just, like, fucking tease you and make fun, beat your ass down, you know?
And it's still better than being, like, alone with it, you know?
Yes. So that's my thing is that's a great, invaluable thing that we fell in love with the genre around people in the room with us.
Yeah.
And you don't get that online, but games are inextricably online based first, offline second these days.
Yeah.
And I will admit that in my like naivete to other genres, I spent a long time discounting the importance of that, because I was like, well, I want to play good local, I want to play good, I'm used to this, I'm used to the arcades, etc. And over the years it became more and more important. So it's like, okay, even if you've got good rollback and you've got the games feeling good, online, how do you make it less of a fucking toxic, annoying experience?
Right.
So that's my main thing, And I think they're missing massive amounts of that.
You're right. Like, I know so many people that they play SF6, but they'll play in a Discord call with a bunch of people.
Yep.
And they'll stream it to their friends.
Yep.
So why not make the game do that?
Yeah. I jumped on to XKO doing duos with some friends that we were jumped on Discord, and it was just like, yeah, you're just talking shit. Set me up. Okay.
Exactly. It is super fun.
Like, that's it. That's the energy that is missing, that we need to package and let the game emphasize for sure. So, among other things as well. Like, the other part is just like making the story content not shit. Making a good story, which takes writers and teams and talent, etc. Making things good. But yes, all right. Sorry, we're getting like,
that's fine.
But I'm putting out the thing I've been saying forever about the genre before we dive into this person's opinions here.
Okay. So fighting games peaked in the early 90s. Oh, come on, bro. It was a peak. Come on, right? We've had other peaks, right? Oh man, in this era, almost
I argue late 90s.
Oh my god,
I argue late 90s. That's an aggressive sentence, but it doesn't matter.
That's so
it was a long early 90s is like fuck everything after Super Turbo. That's crazy.
The people that play hyper fighting and they're like, yo, fuck this Super Turbo thing. Supers are a stupid comeback mechanic. You can't even play the game.
Early 90s is crazy. But in terms of like how many people cared about them, yeah, Street Fighter 2, it never got bigger than that.
Yeah, okay, sure. In this era, almost everyone who played video games had played fighting games. By the end of the decade, there were new genres developing with Quake and StarCraft, but the accessibility of the arcade could not be matched. You didn't need a LAN party or dial-up internet to play against other players. They were just there. It also came with a built-in social environment that naturally addressed many of the issues modern fighting game players face, such as feeling lost, unable to improve, or ranked anxiety. If you were having trouble, there was someone right there who had already been through it all and could talk you through it. Very true. But by the turn of the millennium, the competition from PCs and home consoles had ramped up into full gear. Counter-Strike in 1999 evolved the FPS genre into a team-based, more social experience. Halo in 2001 and Xbox Live in 2002 brought online matchmaking to the console, as well as a lot of slurs.
Right, peak doesn't mean when you enjoyed it at the most. It means when the most people were paying attention.
Right, okay. Grand Theft Auto 3 2001 dominating the industry, creating the 3D open world genre almost entirely from scratch. World of Warcraft is the greatest game I've ever played, offered a persistent social world with endless progression. The Cambrian explosion of video games around 1998 to 2005 can't be overstated. Every genre was being pushed in every possible direction. New genres were being invented from thin air. Not only that, the home console and internet made them far more accessible, allowing people to play whatever they want from the comfort of their own home. Many fighting games from this period are considered by fans of the genre as the best of all time.
Melee, T5, SoulCal 2, Tag, DOA 4, 4 Evo, 3S, Marvel, 98.
However, despite this critical acclaim, the genre's gross revenue declined over this period. While they weren't commercial failures by any measure, none came close to Street Fighter II's 15 million unit sales and 1.5 billion revenue. Tekken 5, while much more successful than Tekken 4, still lagged behind Tekken 3's sales. At the same time, the gaming industry as a whole experienced explosive growth, with World of Warcraft alone making 1 to 1.5 billion yearly, more than 2 to 3 times the entire fighting game genre.
Yeah, and there's always going to be a force multiplier whenever a game is doing something for the first time that no one's ever seen. The sprites were bigger and more detailed than anyone had ever seen. you know, the like there was just no comparison to the way other arcade games looked and the buttons and the things like that at the time. There's always a novelty breakout thing.
And does that include like the 6 versions
Yes.
of Street Fighter 2 as well?
Yes, because
Gotta take that into account, right?
okay, you know how I do, like we kind of slow things down, I guess, as we're going through it, but maybe it's
That's
a more
fine.
interesting discussion if we do so. I remember for years the Capcom had a chart. They have a sales data page that has always been one that you could go visit, and on their sales data page they have their best-selling games by units. Monster Hunter is way the fuck up there. Wait, is this the right page? Sorry, I might be on the wrong page. Game series sales. Monster Hunter. Okay. Where was...
Is this ordered?
No. This changed. We used to go use this all the time back in the day. There was just a broad list. And anyway, the point was that Street Fighter was way the fuck up there. And as far as all their products go, like Street Fighter 2 and everything in that series.
What the hell is Mega Man?
Mega Man.
I'm not joking. I'm joking.
I mean, if you're talking about fucking cross dive over here, like, you know, shit's happening. But anyways, yeah, the point remains is that like you can look at the numbers on this page: 44, 58, RE 183, Monster Hunter. Yeah, so third, right?
Okay. The stagnation went largely unnoticed at the time. Most titles around this time were all more of the same. Lots of attention paid to the core game mechanics and little else. Many games had big departure in game mechanics from their previous titles, notably Street Fighter 4 in 2008 compared to Third Strike. These changes were not necessarily good or bad. Some were appreciated by fans, some weren't. But to even bother debating if, say, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is an improvement is pointless. There's no world in which it was getting people to play it who weren't still playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. There was no evolution, only refinement. Very interesting. It took upstarts in the genre with lesser known IPs like Skullgirls and Killer Instinct to even attempt to make the genre playable online. 10 years after the rest of the industry was all in on online gaming, but these games lacked the resources and industry know-how to produce something genuinely competitive in the wider market. Thus, they didn't bring new players into the genre. Fighting game players are the only people who have ever heard of them. They were functionally tech demos for one singular thing that the sclerotic genre had been failing to deliver on.
It's interesting because, again, like, I think the game industry is full of examples of, like, explosive new concept, everybody goes, holy shit, and then a genre gets born from that. Genre goes on to refine, and at some point there's like a peak version that is like everyone who's a fan of the genre mechanically respects this as like the best version of it, but it's not as popular as that initial thing was, right? It's the most mechanically refined, and if you're into it you go, this is the best, but it's not as big as that initial explosion,
right?
And then from here on out you get revisions of these mechanics until you get more and more like insular to like people that are fans of this into this want that trajectory to continue.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily always translate into a more successful product.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes shit blows up, but like Smash Brothers into Melee, you know, into platform fighters. I mean, kart racing was another thing I kind of brought up at one point, but like there's, you know, and StarCraft into Defense of the Ancients, into MOBAs in general, into League.
That's what Dota means. Oh.
Dota means Defense of the Ancients.
Okay.
And before it was Dota, the original game, it was a use map settings way to play StarCraft.
Okay.
Right? Counter-Strike.
Why did you use his legal name?
Oh, damn. I spit the government. I spit the government out.
Dude, I was shook.
I was using that. Yeah. otherwise known as Mefence of But Ancients. No, that's a classic. And same thing. Counter-Strike, right? That was a mod, and there's games that like the mod becomes the new big thing, and then you travel from there. So anyway,
at this point, rapidly increasing development costs and stagnating revenues demanded a change in strategy. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was the harbinger. God damn it! Every time of this squeeze, and being one of the biggest flops in the genre to date. Many developers hitched to their...
I like the bound system.
Yeah. Many developers hitched their wagons to esports, noticing the success of events like Worlds and the International, hoping to generate appeal and marketing via FGC events like EVO. They stripped their games down to bare essentials, focusing even harder on the core game mechanics to ensure they appeal to professional players and broadcasters. Others had their budgets slashed, becoming sideshows to their own publishers' mobile gacha slopware, forcing lower production value.
Yeah. It's like we can debate the value of something that looks very esports and high, like big money and big crowds. Is that enough to necessarily sustain a game?
Yeah, and garner interest.
Yeah.
Wow value. What followed is an absolute graveyard of fighting games. Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, King of Fighters 14, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Dead or Alive 6 were all dead on arrival. Street Fighter 5 required years of patches to get into a passable state.
For specific problems, yeah.
Selling an alleged esport product that doesn't even work online was pure insanity. Mortal Kombat X, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Mortal Kombat 11 succeeded by instead sticking with the console-era strategy of filling them with content outside of the Versus mode, having some of the best in the genre to date. Across the board, focusing on core mechanics at the expense of the rest of the product was a losing bet. Tekken 7 is a notable exception, with an extremely long tail of its unit sales, still selling millions of copies yearly right up until Tekken 8's release, the hallmark of a game benefiting from the esports model.
2017 to 2024 is a fucking tail. That is a long life.
Yeah, it had enough active players to support 5 years worth of DLC, despite Harada saying they only planned up to Season 2. One might attribute it to being the first Tekken to have a PC port, or its cinematic story, or to its guest characters. But if you wish, I will happily concede Tekken 7 was also carried by its superior gameplay.
So I think there's something to note about like this though is that like each of these franchises is a little bit perhaps not hamstrung, but there's a ceiling of containment to Virtua Fighter. King of Fighters, like if you're like,
yeah, I would say that even if you're a fan of fighting games, these are probably not the main games that you're playing.
And
if you're like a part of it.
How popular is KOF in the grand scheme of things? Not very.
Yeah,
it has never been massive.
South or like
KOF 98 is a very good game. It's very good.
Yeah, 2002.
It's cool, and a lot of fighting game players enjoy it.
13,
and if
15.
if you walked around your arcades, you might have heard Psycho Ball, Psycho Shield back in the day. But in terms of like how successful it's ever been, that is a very niche by comparison. Yeah. Franchise, and I'd say that that's for a bunch of these, right? Like, so there's a little bit of like brand recognition, name recognition makes a huge difference, and like Dead or Alive 6 was never going to suddenly surpass everything and become the god champion emperor of fighting games. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of that, but yeah, Mortal Kombat is a weird exception that like kind of stands out as a lightning bolt event that occurs and disappears just as quickly every few years.
Some people are saying that KOF 14 was not a failure because it allowed 15 to exist. But yeah, there's always like a good and a bad KOF, right?
KOF 12 was not a failure because it allowed 13 to exist. Come on.
Like, I don't know. Maybe not dead on arrival, but it wasn't seen as the great one to me. Right, so the games from this era are not all bad in terms of gameplay. Many would argue that games such as Guilty Gear Xrd and Soul Calibur 6 have the best gameplay those series have to offer. Xrd maybe, Soul Calibur 6, nothing beats 2. They were, however, completely unfit as products in the broader gaming market. Many in the FGC are cynical about the broader gaming market, or just people in general. No team equals no
Yeah, sorry. So go ahead.
Okay. No team equals no excuses, so fighting games can never be popular like team games are. No RNG, too brutal to ego, so fighting games can never be popular like card games, or must have skill flattening mechanics that function as RNG. Fighting games are just like RTS and arena shooters, all doomed genres. People are brain rotted and need instant gratification, so hard games can't be popular anymore. The only hard games with any audience now are those with established legacies like Counter-Strike. It's impossible to compete with established players. You can't convince anyone to play anything not called Street Fighter. People won't play fighting games that aren't using an existing IP.
Yeah, so there's a lot of straw man planted there.
There's a lot, yeah.
I do feel that like there are multitudes of reasons why different people bounce off of things, and you can hear them every time we talk about fighting games on the podcast. You could just go read the comments to see how non-fighting game players that are tired of hearing us talk about them for so long feel about saying like, here's the reason why I'm not particularly in, right? Whether it was character based or just getting dunked on, etc. It is true that like when you look at there's videos that like have been going out where like, for example, St. Jam was pointing out how like Deadlock is so hard and complicated to get into by comparison to like a lot of fighting games.
Okay.
And like people still are willing to go through that.
Absolutely.
And there are other genres and other games where people are willing to put up with harder, more challenging, difficult things. Yeah. Souls games, for example.
Hey, we're being told like, hey, there's no point in playing League of Legends because it's so complicated and deep.
But that doesn't affect necessarily the appeal and personality, right? So there are versions of that do specifically lock certain types of players out, but there's no all-encompassing just one. Like I think you have a pie of these issues that like are going to push some people away, but not others. Some people feel really comforted by having a team of people to queue up with and get carried or not take their losses when you play like a Overwatch or Rivals or something, but that doesn't apply to everybody, certainly, right? But all this to say that like like Doom genres that's a ridiculous claim. Like anyone that says that is just silly.
I assume that the author is going to deconstruct these thoughts, right? So this perspective just doesn't hold up at all with even a cursory glance at the broader market. Chess is a 1v1 game with no RNG. It has only gotten more and more popular over time, primarily due to chess.com and Light Chess making the game more accessible. Hint, improved product design. Chess has some structural advantages over fighting games. Runs on a phone or as a board game. Centuries of cultural inertia. Rules that can be learned in 5 minutes. But chess also has no animations, no characters, no spectacle, and almost no physicality.
What about story mode?
Just well, the story happens off the board.
Right.
This makes chess.com's 10 million daily active users a good baseline for the total addressable market of a gladiatorial video game, roughly 10 times what fighting games currently have.
So that means Tough Love Arena should be the biggest possible game out there, right? Run it on your phone and on any browser, anywhere, all the time.
Anywhere, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Counter-Strike player counts have been going straight up for 12 years straight. That is crazy. This must necessarily be new players entering the tactical shooter genre, not just the game getting a larger share of the existing market over time, because there's no competitor that has lost these players over the same period. Valorant was able to compete with Counter-Strike with a brand new IP without any substantial skill flattening mechanics. Its main competitive edge was having better anti-cheat and having higher tick rate official servers, both big pain points for CS players. Deadlock is unapologetically difficult. Combining the strategic complexity of MOBAs with the execution demands of precision movement shooters. It's a completely new IP, and in an arguably completely new genre. While still in alpha, it has more players than every fighting game combined.
It is a gumbo game, and it's got people. It's doing it. Yep.
How can you compare fighting games to chess? It's thousands of years old. Do you know how much chess.com and Light Chess have done for the game? Do you realize how many features they have?
What's Light Chess?
It's another website to play chess on it.
Okay.
Do you realize how many I think it's more free than chess.com.
Okay.
I think it has more resources available, but chess.com is better packaged.
Gotcha.
Do you realize how many features they have? 25 years ago, Yahoo Games and MSN Gaming Zones were the easiest way to play chess online. Neither even exist anymore. If the cultural legacy of chess were doing all their work, Yahoo Games should have got chess.com numbers with just a free web client, stable servers, elo ratings, and a matchmaker. That never happened. And then chess.com and Light Chess ate its lunch by being much better products.
It is interesting because I do feel, as I was reading this, there was a part of me that was thinking that chess is also a game that culturally is seen as prestigious.
Absolutely.
And other board games not as much. And that's like there are
Simeon Parcheesi though.
Well, there are people like parents in India are training their kids to grow up being good at chess, right? And like, with the exception of like a couple of new Tekken players, you know, from like Pakistan specifically, there's a lot of like you don't have people necessarily. You're walking into a game that already has an established prestige that is that broadens its worldwide appeal.
Yeah.
So like you're bringing that into the equation as well, right? We're not talking about snakes and ladders online. Right?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's silly, but like realistically, or Go for that matter, which, you know, like there's a couple of versions of Go online. You can play iGoWin and stuff like that. There's a couple of programs and stuff, but it's not the same thing. Yeah.
If that's still not enough to convince you, let's look at another angle. Go is even older with a cultural legacy rivaling chess. It has a similar player base, but there's nothing for Go on the level of chess.com or Light Chess. There's not even a clear winner right now. The biggest is Fox Weichi, which still lacks the basic features of like a web client, anonymous accounts, and localization. It has about as many players as Street Fighter 6. To dismiss the chess comparison, you need a good explanation for why Go products are so much less successful than chess ones. And I've never even heard of Go before isn't a good one.
Go rules.
This 10 times figure is modest, all things considered. Chess.com's numbers are actually closer to 25 times, and that's still well below leading competitors like Counter-Strike and League of Legends because yes, team games have a lot of structural advantages. Just because fighting games can't become the biggest genre ever, doesn't mean they can't grow substantially from where they are now. Most people don't have the temperament to play fighting games. They aren't for everyone, but there's over 8 billion people on this planet. You don't need to appeal to all of them. Even if only 1 in 1,000 people have this temperament, and this is absurdly pessimistic, that's still 8 million people you could still be appealing to. The goal is not to appeal to everyone. It's product market fit.
And so this is where it's like, okay, like there's different thoughts about, like, you have what got people interested in Street Fighter 2 for the first time to begin with, and then you've got like what keeps people like you or I interested in playing these games and spending money and playing them consistently, you know. And that's where I bring up the novelty of the brand new thing that is like holy shit, and also like you've never seen it before, and it's like presented in a format that's new to you as well, and everything is just like and it's accessible everywhere, and you don't have to like, you can walk down to your corner store and there's copies of the game running all day, you know. And then there's the thing I was talking about where it's like, oh, because we had friends and it was a social thing to do. So me and my group of friends did X as a kid. There's a much higher likelihood that you'll get into X as a hobby or as a thing that you like in life,
right? Because
it's a social activity that you did with your friends. You know, that can be whatever, but that is the energy around it that makes you enjoy the thing, you know. So the lightning in a bottle of like Street Fighter 2 is not something you can necessarily capture or recreate. Like there are moments where it happens. I would say Smash Brothers is a huge moment for that, you know, capitalizing on the IP and everything as well. But the part that I'm talking about is that social part, you know. But yeah.
There is one more argument people make for why fighting games can never grow out of their current niche. Fighting games won't get better because the FGC is so negative. Everyone is so eager to shit on every big patch and every new fighting game that comes out and kill the hype. If everyone was more positive and actually gave indie fighting games an honest chance, it'd show developers that there's a market for something that isn't Street Fighter. A community leader deciding to soften their criticism of a game or the genre with the goal of growing the community is effectively behaving as unpaid marketing for the video game developers. I don't mean this dismissively. I've done plenty of this myself. There's nothing wrong with this. But as a contribution to the business, this is what this is, marketing. It is pure hubris to think that marketing, and specifically the types of marketing you can contribute to the business, can so strongly override the customer's actual experience with the product. Customers don't form their opinion on quality from marketing. They form their opinions on quality from their own experience with the products or the services. One can spend enormous amounts of money on quality marketing, and if yet your products don't live up to it, customers will not keep that opinion for long in their minds. Now again, quality isn't just the product or the service. It's having the right product. You know, knowing where the market's going and having the most innovative products is just as much a part of quality as the quality of the construction of the product when you have it. Steve Jobs on quality. Now you might think this is a bit reductive, that in fact most people are not even trying the games at all, that they're merely copying opinions from other people on social media. They never had their own experience with the product. For those people, more marketing might move the needle a little, sure. It's not an outlandish thesis. I invite you to consider the case study of StarCraft 2. In 2026, we know this game is a bad product. The player counts dwindle year over year, but the game's downfall was predictable and predicted as far back as 2012. How do we grow StarCraft 2? You can't. This sounds like a dick answer, but I'm going into full-on asshole mode for this one. The people telling you that emailing sponsors to thank them for supporting teams, etc., and that it's helping people and that's really helping the scene are lying to you or delusional. There's only one person right now who can grow StarCraft 2 in the way it needs to grow. One entity, rather. Blizzard. StarCraft 2 is suffering from a lot of problems. It has been from the very beginning, but Blizzard has failed to address them time and time and time again. They're continually proving themselves utterly incompetent when it comes to managing a game as a competitive sport backed by a casual community. StarCraft 2 will be dead before Legacy of the Void if Blizzard doesn't change its course. These criticisms were not invented by Destiny. There were product issues that many customers had voiced already, but Destiny was the only loud voice willing to champion them. Some of its suggestions are now dated. For example, custom maps in 2026 could never compete with Roblox. While maybe good in 2012, the gaming market has since become far more competitive. Even with all these suggestions, StarCraft 2 would still be a bad product in 2026, but if Blizzard had actually made it a good product in 2012, it would have at least had a chance in 2026.
Yeah, okay. This whole section, I don't know what do you think of that? The idea of the toxic positivity argument. I feel sorry.
I'll say that if you ignore those voices and you do your own way, you go your own way, might play these games, but it does affect like the mood when you hop on Twitter and everybody's like, "Oh, fuck this game! What's going on?" Yep. Like, for example, I'll drop it right now. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, had a whole lot of bad things happening around it.
Yep.
For a game that we've been waiting forever.
Yep.
And it comes and you're like, "Oh my god, this is so cool." I have a plethora of things I could name.
Yep.
To explain why the mood has been soured.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And yes, it did make me drop the product. Chun-Li came out, Ken came out. I was waiting for Jae-hoon. All these characters came out, but everybody was like, "No, we're not on board. We're going to be looking at other things." So
being a Terry Bogard fan is suffering.
Why wouldn't I play what other people are playing?
And mechanically, the game is well designed.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
And it hurts. So
Yep.
now the game, people are talking about it again. It's coming back apparently,
Yep.
and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna need something to pull me back in because I've been hurt.
Mhm.
First impressions matter, and the
Mhm.
mood afterwards, if it gets soured, it's hard to clean the air.
So exactly, yeah, totally. It is real that what is happening around the game absolutely makes a difference and is a part of your experience, especially given how online everything is these days,
Yeah.
right? Like if if there's people are in a corner somewhere creating competitive Shrek Super Slam, not
Yeah.
listening to what anyone else has to say, like that's possible,
Red
right?
Riding Hood banned.
Trumpet dashing, right? Creating their tier list, etc. But no, like I think that like there's two things, and if you have a bad product and you are and you're saying like if you have a bad product and people are being like no, let's just be positive about it over the core thing that is flawed, right? Like I can understand the statement that that's a fruitless endeavor and that's pointless and that's not helpful because you're kind of gaslighting people into a thing that is that does not that has problems that are not being addressed,
Yeah.
that is ultimately failing and going downhill. And it's like you can be as positive and as shiny as you want around that. If that core thing sucks, it's pointless, right? And getting mad at people for criticizing it or whatever is meaningless as well if the core thing is an issue, right? I can understand that. However, that does not explain or necessarily equal the same situation if you genuinely are what determines whether that product is bad or not? Are you enjoying it yourself? Are you legitimately having fun with it?
Yeah.
Is it something you are hoping to encourage people to play that you like, that is that you have your heart in it, I suppose, right? I think there's something to that, and the feeling like it's an inviting environment does matter. Feeling like if we lived in a world where everything stood on the merits of you booted it up by yourself in a white room with no one else talking to you and made your decision, that would be a more pure experience. But that's just not that's not the situation we live in. And I think that like if I'm doing a show like this, or we're playing, like I'm having fun with the games that I care about, and I would like to stream that and show people that you can just jump in and have fun, and it doesn't have to be too serious, or you don't have to get too in your head about it, and I think that's worth something. And I think that it's kind of like caring about the thing means that there's a reason why I'm being positive about it, and why I'm trying to encourage other people as well to cross this bridge or make this jump or so, and I've made the joke that like, haha, I'm also like secretly growing the numbers so that there's more of these games in the future, and that I can have more people, I can beat your ass online, you know what I mean, or whatever. But realistically, it's like it's a passion, it's a thing that is there, and I'm like, if I didn't think the game was fun to play, then I wouldn't be talking about 2XKO a bunch, or Street Fighter a bunch, or whatever the case is. And the ones that I do genuinely not really like or care about don't get talked about as much. So I think there's, I guess, something to be said about like there can be, I guess, the issue can be where whether that product is like, if it's something that I'm genuinely enjoying and having fun with, but like there's more that it could do to appeal to more people, that's a valid criticism, and there's no reason to strike that down. But like anytime there's a game that's like everything about 2XKO currently that it's missing, we can call those out and say that it should have all of these things, while still enjoying pressing buttons.
Oh God, yes.
And having matches.
You can criticize something and still enjoy it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be
nuance in 2026.
It doesn't have to be doomerism. It doesn't have to be numbers posting. It doesn't have to be like Steam Spy, like, or what, all that shit. It doesn't, it literally can be like, yes, this game is fun to play, and if you are somebody that is enjoying it, you can also point out things that should be there that can help it grow, or whatever the case is. But in the meantime, and this kind of goes back to the beginning, like whether I'm streaming or not, or talking about it or not, or encouraging people or not, well, I can just sit here and still play it regardless.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk about what the genre needs, etc., but I can also just play, you know, instead of just talking around it. And I think there's also a whole lot of people that that are FGC like OGs and staples at this point that really spend a lot more time talking about the games than actually playing them, you know. And to that, it feels like playing is almost never, you know. And I guess, like, I don't like any habit I'm in, any fandoms I'm in, anything I enjoyed in life. It feels like a cult of doomerism around it is just not really. I don't like that, right? I don't see that as something worth wasting energy on.
Yeah.
Right. But that doesn't mean that you can't make valid criticisms.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that is fair. That was a good stance. Everyone else with a platform thought that loudly voicing these criticisms would make them self-fulfilling. They decided to spend all their energy and effort into talking only about how great StarCraft 2 is, with a theory that this positive community sentiment would translate into growing the game. Does this sound familiar? And you know what? Fair game to them. They did a truly admirable job of this. The early StarCraft 2 era of content creation was one of the most innovative, forward-thinking, and genuinely motivational in gaming history. These people more or less pioneered live streaming and esports content creation, and yet it didn't move the needle in the slightest. The game is still on life support. Meanwhile, the competitors that ate its lunch by being better products, League of Legends and Dota 2, are thriving, despite having what are widely considered the most toxic communities in all of gaming.
I've heard it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Every fighting game has had countless systematic changes to its core game mechanics throughout history in attempts to evolve the genre. Everything from removed motion inputs, cooldown on specials, auto combos, simpler resource management, gimped assist mechanics, to degenerate set play, highly complex motions, absurd movement tech, reduced input buffer, frame-perfect defensive mechanics, 6-way tag mix-ups, full-screen assist hitboxes, one-touch setups, all of it's been tried. None of it in any direction has had any noticeable impact on commercial success.
Again, we can agree on the problems. Let's see if we agree on the solutions, ultimately, you know?
The current fashion, everything from Guilty Gear Strive to Tekken 8 to Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, is all about simplifying as much as possible to make the game more approachable, sanding off all the jagged edges, removing obscure tech to make the experience more refined. Street Fighter 6 is the most systematically homogenized game in the franchise. For many in the FGC, this trend is a waking nightmare. The games all suck! The genre is ruined! I am sympathetic to the criticism, but it's a little histrionic. These critics worry about a problem that developers are all too eager to solve. As with all fashion trends, this one will pass. Eventually the games will be too simple, and there will be a hunger to put the complexity back in. With plenty of design space left for it, this trend is predictable, just as predictable as it is that none of the upcoming titles, example given, Tokon to XKO, will be relevant outside of the current FGC niche. None of this is to say that the core game mechanics don't matter. They matter a great deal. Games need depth to keep the players around past the 100th hour. But that is worth noting if nobody gets to that 100th hour in the first place. If you can't even get people in the door, the quality of the food is irrelevant. The marketing pitch of every fighting game since the end of the arcade era, we've changed the game to appeal to you. Now please come play. 25 years of this failing is enough. We need to get serious. Changing the core game mechanics will not save us. This is both a blessing and a curse. It means developers can stop chasing trends and overreacting to vocal outsiders who can never be pleased. They are free to design their game with a bold vision and respect the genre. But it also means they can no longer neglect making their games complete pieces of software. They have to put the work in on the much less glamorous goal of product design.
Yeah. Anyway, to continue.
What are fighting games lacking as products? This is the burning question. It's an indictment of the genre's developers that there are so many obvious answers. Crossplay, functional anti-cheat, functional online netcode, matchmaking systems that quickly find evenly matched opponents with good connections, ranked systems that are accurate to player skill and not easily gamed, practice modes that make it easy to test and get comprehensive details about the core game mechanics. These are the table stakes for competitive video games made in the last 25 years. They're not all sufficient for a good product, but they're required. You could ask any jabroni at EVO what fighting game, where is he from? What fighting games need that they would need to tell you this, and they would be right. Is that not absurd? Usually, in a man on the street interview, you'd expect some absurdly niche answer that doesn't make any sense, or just total nonsense pie in the sky request for infinite features and a $0 price tag. But for fighting games, the products are so bad that they are $1 million bills being left on the floor that anyone can see. For the most part, these answers amount to, make it so I can actually play the fucking game. It's like, duh, making it easier for people to actually play your game sounds like kind of obvious. However, I would have wasted your time if those were the only answers I had. You heard it all before.
We have heard it all before.
I'm here to make the real bull case here, and convince you that we can get that 10 times to convince developers that it's worth investing in this cursed genre.
The 10x fucking gambling term.
Yeah.
The cut back to the hey, Woolie, what can fighting games do to encourage people to play them? Work. Right? Yes, this, duh, we know this, but beyond this, what else, right?
To get there, we gotta look deep in our souls and ask, what is the point of fighting games? Why should I play these games instead of all the other games out there? I've never seen a serious answer to this question. I have, however, seen some surprisingly uninspired answers. Fantasy Strike says, it's all about Yomi, man. It's all about, like, the mind games, dude. He thought I was gonna do scissors, but I, like, totally did paper. A more articulate answer comes from Combo Feed, one of the FGC old heads hired to work on 2XKO. Oh boy, okay, I know where this is going.
Yeah, you know where this is going.
If you're to actually think about it, these characters are just functions. They're just doing things. Magneto, case in points, is a favorite because he has an 8-way dash and he's really fast, right? So our most technical players, all they want to do is triangle jump and that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Nova can do the same thing. Captain Marvel can do the same thing. Ultron can do the same thing. Go ahead and try them out. They couldn't. It's just a function that people are associating with a character. There's no shortage of that. We made sure that all the proper playstyles can be represented with our current roster. The design team has been looking at that very closely. We wanted to make sure that if a legacy character doesn't happen to make the roster this time, that playstyle would still be represented. That somebody who has associated themselves with Magneto wouldn't be lost coming into the title.
Yeah, Peter's gonna be catching strays for the rest of time.
That's the biggest lie ever, man.
That one's gonna hurt forever. It's unfortunate.
I tried Infinite, and I couldn't. It's a 2-character game, right?
Yep.
I couldn't pick one character. I took 2 characters. I didn't care for them. I tried the game and I stopped playing.
I mean, it's not gonna work to sit there and say because Marvel doesn't want those characters in the game, and right now they're trying to push Rocket Raccoon. It doesn't. Unfortunately, it just doesn't. Yeah.
This is a sort of answer that only someone who was way too deep in the sauce can give. I'm sorry, what? I only want to play as Magneto because of his 8-way dash? Have you considered that maybe it's because Magneto is a badass motherfucker with a sick helmet who bends metal with his mind? Do you think that FDX really likes to play Lily, Cammy, and Nina because of how they function? Sorry, enough beating a dead horse.
We know, yeah.
Here's my initial answer. A fighting game makes you feel like the main character in an action movie. Now, have you ever wondered why every fighting game player loves Jackie Chan movies? Sure, but everyone loves Jackie Chan. Rush Hour made $244 million. Yeah, and 13 other movies that year made more than that. And that was the Americanized, commodified Jackie Chan. How much money do you think Drunken Master made? The movie that inspired countless classic fighting game characters? The appeal of fighting games is inseparable from that of stylized wushu, kung fu, wuxia, etc. cinema. This is critical to understand. It's what separates the genre from your typical man with gun action game. In a man with gun story, the hero's power comes from his weapon. It's outside of the self. But Ryu has fireballs. That's like a gun, right? No. Ryu's fireball might have the same function as a gun, being a projectile weapon, albeit slower moving. But the source of his power, the thing that made the fireball exist, is within Ryu himself. It was not some tool that he had on his belt. Standard issue to every other Marine in his platoon. It's a mystical martial technique he spent years mastering. In a martial arts narrative, the source of the character's power must come from within. Following from this, the source of a player's power must also be embodied. It too must come from within, because the player is the character. If you remove this association, the game's ethos reverts to that of a man with gun narrative. It is a fundamentally different genre. So here's the refined answer. A fighting game makes you feel like the main character in a martial arts movie.
I think that's very, very specific, and there's a particular type that there's a particular appeal that comes from that. But overall, broadly, it's just cool characters.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be martial arts specifically.
It doesn't have to be martial arts.
It doesn't have to
man.
be Jackie Chan. It just needs to be cool.
Hey, Shumagara looks cool. It's not martial art, but it's weird.
Doing cool things.
Arakune,
feeling cool to fight
super
with.
cool.
Yes. The same way you get hype watching a Sakuga fight in an anime, feeling like you are pretty able to participate in that, control it to a degree, and do things. It's just characters, cool characters. That's it. It doesn't have to be Sifu, though Sifu is a good martial arts game. It can be anything. Just
make it cool. Make it cool. Where was I? How does this relate to product design? Remember, knowing the market is just as much a part of quality as the quality of the construction of the product when you have it. A perfectly designed game is worthless to someone who doesn't want to play it. Deeply knowing the archetypal narratives and themes that resonate with the target market informs how the product is designed. Here are some archetypal narratives of the genre. The rival schools. Two martial arts schools or clans clash over territory, honor, or ideology. Even the weakest members can become involved in the conflict. Fist of Fury, Fearless. The student's journey. External forces thrust a young, untrained student into a martial training. Originally a means to an end, the student comes to appreciate the art for its own sake. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, Drunken Master. The reluctant hero, a retired fighter or a pacifist, is forced to fight. A touch of Zen, Ip Man. The tournament. Fighters of different styles and from different regions gather to compete for glory, power, or survival. Enter the Dragon, Bloodsport.
Yeah, it really pigeons-holed down into
martial arts.
Which is not
I feel like
Tekken is a lot about martial arts and martial artists, certainly. But there are a whole lot of fighting games that are much broader than that.
Yeah, I feel like the creator of this text knows about the fighting games and knows that it's about more than martial arts, but that angle makes it seem like they're really focusing on that, unfortunately.
Well, so yeah, because admittedly, again, I didn't finish it, but like, if this is analogy to extrapolate at broad, what you're getting at with each of these things, then sure. But if you are specifically trying to say that no, it must go back to Bruce Lee, if it is returned to Bruce Lee, then we have an issue much broader than that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Themes: discipline and self-mastery, cultivation of power via rigorous training, technique over raw strength, be like water, the body as a weapon, triumph over those relying on tools or technology, lineage and loyalty, duty to one's own master and school. Master and student, conflict with the master's old ways and the student's drive to develop the art. Corruption of power, following the wrong path leads to moral compromise. I
mean, I would say that like Virtua Fighter coming back, it seems to be striving for this sort of angle, and a bunch of some of this is also Absolver, to some degree. But again, this is a pin on a. It's a needle in a haystack a little bit. Anyway, go on.
That last theme might sound weirdly worded. We expect power corrupts, but it's intentionally so. While apparently similar to with great power comes great responsibility, common to superhero comics, this theme focuses more on the path by which power is cultivated, on the journey of self-mastery. The protagonist discovers a forbidden or destructive technique that would secure victory, but at a spiritual or moral cost. The moral question regards the nature of the training itself, not the use of the power once acquired. Similar to the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, where the thesis is not that all power is inherently corrosive, a common misinterpretation, but that evil power cannot ever be used for good ends.
Okay.
The thesis is not that all power is inherently corrosive, but that evil power cannot ever be used for good ends.
Okay. Waiting for the tie back into product design here.
The application is more to game design than product design, so forgive the digression. But the key insight is that fighting games should have evil playstyles. Think the Brazilian Ken from Street Fighter 4 or the crackhead Ryu in Street Fighter 6. Scrubby options need to both exist and be powerful, and even potentially trap players into being unable to learn fundies, their mind forever tainted by scrubby tactics, to provide contrast to the good playstyles. For all its faults, this is the one thing SF6 Modern does well. Parallels to the Majin Mark from Dragon Ball are not a coincidence. There's more, but I cannot do the genre justice with words alone, so I'll stop here and suggest anyone with a genuine interest in evolving the fighting game genre should watch more classic martial arts movies. It will give you a deeper insight than any article could.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a weird lens to look at things through.
Yeah, it is one lens, and it is a cool lens. I don't hate martial arts things. I think they're dope as hell, and it is clear. I've listed for years the Bruce Lee character in every single fighting game franchise. Certainly is a thing. And you can expand upon these specific themes in a specific way. But in terms of getting back to what makes somebody want to purchase a game, play it, enjoy the process of learning, and taking losses and wins in a productive manner, that, you know, like all of these things, and like what else you can do to have fun with the product. Sure.
This lens of fighting game tournament master student dynamic being applied to everything is not the way.
Maybe this is set up for something.
Maybe this is a setup. Yeah. Now let's use our understanding of these narratives and themes to combine them with our understanding of the genre's history to realize its future. First goal: transplant the arcade into the digital realm. Players need a space that provides the same social experience. The path of self-mastery is long, and rarely does one do it alone. The fighter is not just motivated by the master, but also by his peers. The themes of lineage and loyalty and master and student don't work when the system is organized entirely around the individual. Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and Strive all try to do this with the Battle Hub and the Tekken Lounge. All of these are a good start. They just need to be refined and taken further. What's missing from all of them? There are entirely public spaces. Everyone gets forced into the same community. Such a system does not allow different schools of thought to coexist. The rival schools narrative doesn't work if there's only one school. In the arcade days, there'd be another arcade you could go to if you didn't vibe with the people there. If there wasn't, the cliques could still form by using the physical space, playing in separate parts of the arcades or at different times. They are represented as literal arcades, with player avatars hopping on literal cabinets when they want to play the game. This anachronistic virtual space emphasizes a snapshot of a bygone era, forever stuck in time, lacking any aspiration to become more than what has already passed. Why are we not existing in temples, dojos, studies, farms, markets, boutiques, and other spaces more common in martial arts movies? Spaces that better emphasize the theme of the genre. Actual in-game stage designs do this, but for some reason the social spaces all take their inspiration from Digimon. They are not the central point of entry for the rest of the game's modes. Players have to explicitly enter them after opening the game, rather than existing in these spaces by default as they go about their business. Most players simply don't interact with them at all. It's an isolated world. In the arcade era, people will just be there because they were playing, and others could come along without intention to play, but just to hang out with their friends. For any other lobby system you think does the job, they are transient spaces. If the lobby host isn't there, someone else has to make it. You can't have more than one admin mod, just the one host. There is no embodiment of the player in their space. Players want to do other things, story mode, training mode, customization, have to leave the lobby to do so. It doesn't have the capacity to host a clan's worth of people at once.
Okay. If I'm playing a hype-ass Digimon fighting game, I have no problem with the social spaces taking their inspiration from Digimon. It doesn't have to be martial arts. It
doesn't have to be martial arts.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the specifics of any of this stuff, right? Like the again, pegging it into that is strangely. It's strangely obsessed with that as a theme. The overall, if I can, like,
Jackie Chan fights in a restaurant. Why don't they make a restaurant?
to take the most charitable reading and steelman it, right? What I would extract from this is to say the same that of what we said up top, which is social spaces and playing socially with people should be part of your game. That's a good product. A good product lets you go online with your friends, and if that means hanging out in, it doesn't have to be the dojo. It can obviously be the danger room. It can be fucking whatever, it can be a Digimon training space. Like, it can be whatever the theme of the thing, you know. But all that to say, like, I think that, yeah, a way to play with friends or strangers, have them come together and have that be a part of the experience is important. That is the charitable extraction from the specifics of the martial arts rival school dojo narrative here. And a game with dojos and schools and things and all that stuff is a cool idea, certainly. And again, we had Absolver, which the people who made Sifu, before they made Sifu, they made an online fighting game where you ran around and could learn moves from strangers, could challenge strangers, or join training schools of groups of people hanging out learning certain moves.
That's right.
Yeah, it was, the concept of it was awesome, right? It was a lot of this, but it was characters that were masked and people didn't really know about the game. It was rather obscure. It was pretty niche. Everything it was doing was pretty dope, but overall, like, it was just a small indie online game that never really blew up or took off.
I see.
And I would go back to the point about characters and, you know, the appeal of wanting to not just do cool things, but do cool things as cool characters.
Yeah.
You know? And even if they're silly or funny or whatever, there needs to, you got to go back to that. And I think, but like in terms of like hitting a bunch of these points, Absolver hit all of them, right? It just, I don't think people were particularly attracted to playing as the masked unknown characters in Absolver. And
personality.
Yeah. And you could also create a world where people customize and create their own too. I mean, that's a massive appeal of things as well. But all this to say that, you know, the functions listed here did apply to that game.
Dragon Ball FighterZ got closest to doing this right, so it's a shame that we've gone backwards on this. Imagine opening the game and loading right into your clan's dojo. You can physically see your online friends doing everything, playing sets, going through the story mode, using training mode, customizing the character, etc. Everything in the game is accessed from this virtual world. A player avatar representing someone in a ranked match is not hunched over an arcade cabinet, but instead shadowboxing in the middle of a tatami mat. Training mode is represented by sparring with a wooden dummy. Watching replays is represented by meditating on the mat. You're able to jump in and watch someone doing whatever it is they're doing at any time, just like you could by shadowing someone at the arcade. Or perhaps it's late at night, and you're the only one in your clan online, and you may revel in solitude. Suddenly, these spaces are not weird, cordoned off section of the game only for the freaks and loafers, but a shared space for everyone, enjoying the full range of what the game has to offer.
I mean, Dragon Ball does do a bunch of that, admittedly, though it is people just kind of running around and with the little avatars on the, you know, it's not fully fleshed out, and that hypothetical game could, there's an itch scratched with, like I said, taking taking the homies online and playing on a Friday night together, doing all of the above, you know, sure. While not specifically marrying the concept of martial arts film.
There are some problems that immediately come to mind. First of all, what if you don't have a clan? And what if you're offline or just want to be alone? All solved in the same way. You still load into the same virtual space and access everything in the same way. There just aren't any other player avatars visible anywhere. If you're online, this is just how the menu works. And don't worry, there can easily be a regular menu if you don't want to walk around. It'll just teleport you to where you need to be. What if I want to be in more than one clan? This one is important. Clan systems in many video games fail to address this properly. People, especially online, do not organize into distinct cliques. Everyone is in multiple different group chats, sometimes with many overlapping members in each. There should be minimal friction in switching between the different clans, with chatting between multiple clans at the same time being a primary use case easily facilitated by the UI. Much like any serious group chat, you can see the full chat history whenever you open the game.
Another game that never fucking happened, but existed for 2 seconds on like a Korean server was King of Fighters Online, not the beat 'em up that came out on Xbox 360 the other day. The other day, I mean like 10 years ago or whatever. But like 20 or so years ago, there was a game called King of Fighters Online where you'd walk around an environment and run into other players, and then when you saw a player, you could challenge them, and then it would, like, right on that overworld, camera would shift into 2D.
Okay.
And then become a duel, right? And so it was like trying to make it so that like you could go from walking around straight into the fighting game and then back, almost like what World Tour kind of went for, you know, basically.
Yeah, going around.
Yeah, that was, you know, but I mean, in a game that was piss poor to play and fucking, again, never really left alpha.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. This would look a lot like FGC Discord servers. 1 or 2 major public clans in each region that more or less everyone is in, and that many don't engage with as actively. Then many more private splinter clans where people engage with more people they feel a closer camaraderie with. So what? Your big idea is to put Discord in the game? Yes. You're putting the function that Discord currently serves into the game, but in a way that is coherent with the narrative and aesthetics of the genre.
Yeah.
Much like how playing Magneto is 10 times cooler than playing another character with the same function, this would be taking something that the customer demonstrably needs and integrating into the product itself in a way that feels right for the genre. Also, some kind of clan battle system, resembling the rival schools archetype, would help take the edge off the sweatiness of 1v1 games.
This is, to me, this is the whole thing. Right, this is the whole thing to me. Yeah, it playing with your friends makes it funner to level up and to lose and to learn. It makes every activity of the genre like just infinitely more enjoyable.
Doing anything.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm watching a replay. Oh, there's somebody in the room. Oh, what are you watching? Oh, yeah. It's interesting. You're training something? What are you training over there, huh?
Have you ever played an instrument?
Not since grade school.
In school?
Yeah.
You've never played around on your own?
No. Well, I mean, I've held a guitar and messed with it.
Strummed around. Okay.
A bit of Rocksmith, but that's about it.
So, spoiler alert. Initially, it's boring and difficult and sucks, and the onboarding process is brutal.
Damn, sounds like a game.
Yeah, and you're like, why can't my fingers fucking do these chords? Why am I bleeding when I try to strum? I can't get the rhythm of these paradiddles.
Yeah.
I can't automate. I can hit the hi-hat. I can only hit the hi-hat when I'm thinking about it, but I can't make my arm automatically start hitting it while I'm focusing on the snare and the bass. Right? How do I learn to autopilot? Oh, it's that. And then you do all that, and it does suck, but you play with a group of people.
What a bad product.
In the musical instruments, right? You jam, even if you're bad, you jam with other people, and all of a sudden you're just focused on what you're all doing together. And then there's a super fun high level thing happening while all those problems continue to exist, but because of the fun high level experience that you're all sharing, these problems matter way less.
That is true.
And you focus less on them, and you just remember the cool shit you guys are doing together.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
The problems don't go away. You still take your losses. You still run into the issues of the technical things you can't execute on. But there's a higher level enjoyment that you all are having as a community, as a group of people together.
And this has a community, and you're having fun with people at your level, people better than you, and people worse than you, even if you're jamming.
Oh, if you're jamming with somebody that's amazing,
Yeah.
and they're picking you up, and they're taking the garbage you're putting out,
Isn't that glorious?
it's amazing.
Doesn't it feel great?
It's a super good feeling.
Yeah.
It's a super good feeling.
Absolutely.
And I've had the pleasure to mess around with drums with people that were way better than me musically, and it fucking feels great.
Yeah.
Right? Even though I'm in my room going, God fucking damn it, I suck. Trying to learn a fill, you know? Or like going and practicing combos, listening to a song that I know without the drum track, trying to do it myself.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, absolutely. You take any experience online with friends and you push that. And again, because of the way online is the most important aspect of fighting games these days, and of every genre of a ton of genres these days, but it doesn't come with the things that we had occur accidentally offline. You have to recreate that, right? And yeah, no one's been doing that. So I completely agree with that sentiment here. I've been saying it for years.
Second goal, a story mode that cultivates an appreciation for the game's depth. Current story modes don't challenge you to learn the game mechanics or interact with it on any deliberate level. You can finish Tekken 8's story mode just by mashing the whole time. The only real goal of these on a game design level is begging the player to keep playing them. Please, please keep reading my epic shonen slop. It's pathetic. They are so terrified of presenting the player with even the whiff of a roadblock that might make them put the controller down. In 2026, there are multiple examples of massively successful games with heavily front-loaded difficulty. Elden Ring, Sekiro, Hollow Knight, Cuphead. This refusal to challenge the player at the point where they are most invested is criminally negligent. Why exactly would you take a genre that is notoriously challenging and then spend the first 3 hours you get with the player teaching them nothing at all? It's incoherent product design, targeting two entirely distinct markets at the expense of both. In both the student's journey and the reluctant hero, the fighter almost always doesn't want to fight. This is such a staple of the genre that Jackie Chan makes it a bit. I don't want no trouble! Just as well, the player doesn't want to learn. The player is lazy. They won't click a button with words like training or tutorial on them. You have to make them learn. And the easiest way to do this is throwing unforgiving bosses at them that beat the shit out of them until they play the game properly. I've written about this more extensively already. The wasted potential of fighting game story modes. This is why free-to-play probably won't work for fighting games, at least for now. In the free-to-play business model, you're selling cosmetics. But you can't go right out of the gate expecting massive cash flows. It has to build up slowly. The value of your online trinkets is heavily influenced by how long your service has already been live for. Whales aren't going to buy your cosmetics like they buy Counter-Strike skins. And minnows aren't going to buy battle passes like they do in Fortnite if they aren't confident your game will be around in 6 months. Many live service games with potential crashed and burned with 100% losses and no chance to recover because they didn't hit expectations at launch and then investors pulled out. It's much more sink or swim than getting an upfront payment from the customer. Consumer.
Yeah. So before in the previous generation of fighting games, we had arcade mode and then a couple of slides and then the game's over, and that was all. And then eventually Mortal Kombat did a big story mode, and we're like, oh my god, someone's trying.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, holy shit, that's cool. You can watch a lot of cutscenes in between the fights. And then that became like, okay, a couple other games are starting to do that. And you're like, okay, here's a single player experience. You're trying to build out the product by offering that. The story is always dog shit.
Often.
And, you know, but overall, the idea of like, okay, there's an effort here where there once was zero was something that I think people were like surprised by and like, okay, cool, you're trying. can we just make it a good story? Can we make it like not bad? Okay, cool. Well, that'll take time. Depends on what studio, depends on who, etc., and what.
Yeah.
Jumping around to different characters for different arcs or chapters or whatever, that's fine. It doesn't have to be picking your character on the character select or whatever. But yeah, what again? World Tour, step in the right direction. Things that sort of show you how to do moves and thing, whatever the pizza mini game or the bottle cutting mini game and all those little things are cute in there. I do agree that there should be difficult challenges that you can present the players with, and like they will be willing to overcome them if the environment they're in is fun enough and they're enjoying it enough. I think for a number of these games, not certainly not for all of them, but at least for the traditional FromSoft games, a factor where bosses can be insanely hard if you choose to go in with your pride and solo them, but you also have the option of calling in a social element, calling in a friend, calling in a summon, whoever, and coming in together and fighting. And that makes it, that's a difficulty modifier that makes it significantly easier, and it changes things around, and you bring in that social element I was just describing. Doesn't necessarily work the same way in a 1v1 fighting game context. However, this is an elegant solution to difficulty, and I think if you found a way to offer a compelling single player content in a fighting game, and having multiplayer, or at least the social element be part of that, you could offer people higher challenges and have them hit walls that teach them about specific mechanics and things, and increase that difficulty while having other friends there or other people that can take a crack at it as well. Taking on a really difficult challenge that requires or a boss that's like going in on you pretty hard, that requires some of your fundamentals to be higher, but you're fighting in a team of 3 versus that boss or whatever, is like something that could, for example, make that more fun for some people. I don't disagree with that idea. As far as like how much to gate people out of that, and or how much to give them in terms of like can somebody who's just absolutely terrible at the game make it to the credits? It depends on what the game's going for. That's up to the designer. You can design either or. I don't think
they want you to get there, or they want you to try hard to get there. Give you a challenge.
Both. You can go both directions, and
both are design decisions.
And you can be compelling about it. But if you decide to go boldly and make it difficult, we have seen examples of people that are like, willing to challenge themselves, and for pride purposes, like deal with the difficulty, even if they're coming into a situation that they're unfamiliar with, or a genre that they're unfamiliar with.
Is there a thing to be said about like the single player experience versus the multiplayer experience, considering they're so different? Like if you look at a fighting game, imagine somebody goes through World Tour and they learn how to do the moves and they're having fun, and I can like beat this hard enemy over there, but then they're playing against a human. That's another person that's thinking, and that might that's a new barrier, of course, for that person.
It would be cool if there were, I don't know how to do it in a way that doesn't potentially lead to huge problems, but the old monk in Demon Souls, if you remember that boss you fought, who was actually another human player that ran out.
That was cool.
If there are ways to make other human players be a part of this challenge, that could be something interesting as well, certainly. But a human being automatically changes things up in a way, and some people just don't want the pressure of another person, until they're ready for it.
True.
There's a lot of people I know who are I have a friend who's into fighting games as single player experiences. Like legit just doesn't want to fight against other people, just enjoys picking the characters, doing combos, and unlocking the endings, right? I even have, besides that friend, I have my a nephew who's super into Dragon Ball Fighters, because he loves Dragon Ball, and he loves picking the characters, and he just wants to learn to do some combos, and like doesn't and he plays it like toys in a sandbox.
Sick.
Yep.
I'm the most fun I have is in training mode trying to figure stuff.
Now that's not going to be everyone.
That's not going to be
everything,
everyone.
and that doesn't
have to be everyone.
And it doesn't equal longevity, but it is a person that is willing to play the game and engage with it.
If the game can like nurture like an investigative process from the person and interest, that's the best. If you're learning and you're having fun at the same time, that's the best. But I don't think we have like the perfect solution yet.
But yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, I also think too that like unfortunately right now with World Tour, even though it makes a lot of steps in the right direction in a way that other games have like not done so far, it's kind of like that first time we saw the story mode in Mortal Kombat, where it's like, this is a cool single player experience that you've added to the game that was sorely lacking from other games. And like they had the conquest mode and running around in Deception and Deadly Alliance and all those things or whatever, the crypt, exactly. But like it's a bigger, broader step, but the quality difference between World Tour fighting and fighting ground fighting is unparalleled. It leaps and bounds ahead. You feel a significant difference between those two things.
It's almost like they got an extra team working on the World Tour exclusively.
And the more you don't feel that difference, the better, you know? Because World Tour right now feels like the derpy cousin. You know what I mean? While the real mode is over here and anything happening over there is like, yeah, that's cute. You know? But people are in it, playing it. You know? But you want those things to not have such a gulf of quality between the two.
Where was I? Right. Unless the core mechanics are fully pick up and play in the way that Brawlhalla's are, and which is arguably a different genre at that point, you need an expensive story mode to act as the tutorial. That's an even bigger upfront development cost, which puts an even bigger risk premium on the investment, which demands an even higher potential returns and even less room to grow from setbacks on release. If the genre were better saturated, you could get away with no story mode, and then maybe you could get away with free to play. Shooters and MOBAs don't need tutorials because everyone already knows how to play them. Doom, Half-Life, Halo, Call of Duty, StarCraft, Age of Empires, Warcraft, they all walk so that Counter-Strike and League of Legends could run. The target market has enough genre experience. For fighting games in 2026, the target market is mostly untapped. So this product strategy of undercutting bigger competition by being leaner doesn't make much sense.
It goes without saying that tutorials should be not boring and lame, and
it should be fun.
It should not feel like class.
It should not feel like school. Don't try to cram stuff in me. Like, give me a challenge that I have fun going around. Give me a puzzle.
Yeah. You know, I've said an example is like platformers. Good platformers have learned that like while they're teaching you how to jump over things and how to charge your shots and use your mechanics, they'll put a ledge that you have to jump over, and they'll drop you in a world where you're moving around and doing things, and then eventually you have to overcome that thing to move on. And not to say that that's inherently a fun thing of itself, but what I hate and what I think a lot of people hate is getting dropped into that training mode where you're getting talked at for a bit, and then you try the challenge, and then you get talked at for a bit, and then you do the challenge. And like, yes, that is good in a time where that didn't exist at all. And when I saw that start to exist, I was like, yay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, cool. They're doing something about it.
Yeah.
Anything,
right?
Anything.
And we looked at VF4, VF4 Evo, where they're like showing you the different... the VF4 had like some of the best tutorials that didn't exist in fighting games at the time, showing you like really in-depth setups and defense options and things like that, right? So... in a time where nothing explained anything, that was great, right? Just like in a time where there's no story mode, hey, Mortal Kombat does. But can we do better than class, read? Okay, now do the jump, walk. Yes, we can do better than that, right? And I think that like a big part of that is as soon as you drop in anyone into any of those types of modes, or you go into any section of anything that's trying to teach you, let you move and press buttons the whole time. Do not take away control from the person.
Yeah.
Because moving around while things are happening is like you want to play, you want to feel, you want to enjoy the video game and the character, and you want to do stuff. And I think the moment you have to stop and be like that little brakes you pump feels bad. That's not good friction people hit. You know, if people are not paying attention to what's being asked of them or so, find a way to get them to repeat that or so, or whatever the case. But do not do that. Like stop, go, stop, go, stop. Don't do that. Let people move and play and touch buttons and just enjoy the sandbox while learning what's going on, and then present them with stuff that they can further learn about their character, about how the game works.
I would say also, I don't know if I agree with MOBAs. Everybody knows how to play them. I think shooters are intuitive. Shooters are intuitive.
Yeah.
Look at the thing and
point to click
America.
Yeah.
But MOBAs is like, no, I got spells, I got things to learn.
I inherently do not know. This is not true.
Yeah, okay.
I am an outsider to the genre.
Same.
Who does not have the inherent knowledge just because everybody. No, that's not true. I grew up in a time where other genres were the main ones. Shooters became bigger while I was focused more on not PC gaming. So a lot of the PC game genres that are bigger ones now evaded me while I continue to play consoles.
Yeah.
So this is a timeline that doesn't necessarily represent me.
Yeah. So I still think shooters are more intuitive. MOBAs like, what the heck? Hold on.
Oh my god! And I've already said this, but like anytime games are broken up into these different phases that are like I was talking about High Guard and how it's like, okay, you do this phase, and then the game stops, and now you have to do this phase of the, and then like I don't like that as much as I like games where the goal is simple: defeat your enemy, and there's lots of different ways to go about doing that. You know, like I that stiltedness bugs me in genres that kind of force that. Whereas I'd like in a game like this, it's like your enemy's base is over there, go kill them. There's a billion ways to do that, but it's not like, all right, we have stopped the gathering phase of resources and Vespine gas, and minerals, and now begins the combat. No, now's the building phase, and then restart, and then okay, now we've passed the building phase. Now we get to the combat phase. You know.
And you need to explore at the same time. Don't forget to explore.
Yes,
and scout the map.
And I gave an example as well, which was one of the coolest ways that this was done seamlessly was in Titanfall. There is a pilot phase and there is a Titan phase.
Okay.
But when you get from one to the other is seamless because it's based on how well you do your kills. And eventually everyone will be in their Titan and then everyone will be back out on foot. But like the game doesn't have a run around and gun and then the game stops.
Yeah.
And now we all loaded to our Titans and begin the second. It doesn't do that. It brings you right into the, and like keeping that seamless is super smooth and makes the experience better.
The paid DLC characters business model, however, should be abandoned. Okay, let's see what he has to say. The sales numbers on these are not good enough to justify making the product catalog so much more confusing. There's no way to do this without making new customers horribly confused by the difference between Ultimate Edition, Definitive Edition, Originals Edition. The paradox of choice is a mortal sin in sales. Okay, no. Yeah, that's true. You've already got a customer wanting to buy. Just close the damn deal.
Oh, sure. Editions is just a holdover from old Street Fighter days and all that.
Yeah.
And packing that as a product for people to, for sure. Make a thing, update the thing, and that's it.
No, that's fair. So the best business model is a hybrid live service.
You should win things by watching. Yeah.
So the best business model is a hybrid live service where players pay upfront for the base game to reduce tail risk and help with cash flow, and then cosmetics pay for continued development. Potentially massive long tail returns from whales.
That being said, this happens every time, and we've watched it repeat it over and over again. The initial, we learned from the days of Championship Edition, all the jokes about Super Turbo Infinite Dash for matching service, Guilty Gear, Double X, Korean Reload, Sharp, etc., etc., etc. And we're no longer doing that. We're making one version, one game. You just have to play that. And then a few years go by, and then it's like, okay, shit, we need people to spend a bit more money, and we need a way to tell them that this is a new thing. So actually, we're coming out with a version that's going to be called Definitive Edition or Championship Edition. But then we have to do it again, right? And it's like You know, even with Street Fighter 6, it's like there's the year 2 bundle, you know, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
year 1, 2 fighters.
Yeah,
edition.
yeah. And it's
And
just
then you go to buy it and you're like, wait, but this is the third year?
so there's this weird thing of like the initial goal is stated to be like, no, we don't want to do what we used to do. Everyone made fun of, you know, fighting games forever for just doing endless updates and making their titles get longer and longer. But then when you have to announce a big change of some kind, you have to remarket, and in order to remarket, then you need a new name.
Yeah.
You know, so it feels like it's like, yeah, it's like, no, just have a platform, have a single thing. I agree.
Third goal, single player modes that amplify the fighting game and that are fun in their own right. Grinding rank over and over isn't that appealing as an endgame. Even serious rank grinders aren't playing more than a few hours a day and often need extended breaks. Just suck it up and go through the grueling process of learning the art, and then you can grind ranked all day. This isn't a good sales pitch. Single player content is obviously needed, so people have something else to do when they're tired of ranked.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that I'm sure you've heard this before. But when people ask for single player content, what they usually mean is make a totally different game in a totally different genre, but mash the fighting game into it somehow. Tekken Force is just a beat 'em up with Tekken skin. World Tour is just an open world RPG with a Street Fighter skin and mostly meaningless FG interludes. Chronicles of the Sword is just Fire Emblem with a Soul Calibur skin and meaningless fighting game interludes. These game modes are often beloved by fighting game players, so they ask for more of these, but this is such a ridiculous request. Just be serious for a moment. Tekken Force isn't going to compete with Streets of Rage 4 because Streets developers are serious about beat 'em ups specifically. They are diehards and experts of the genre, while Tekken developers are just tourists of it. World Tour is a joke compared to literally anything else in the open world RPG genre. You better have Morian tier writing if you think you can get away without voice acting in 2023.
I think the wildest example is Melty Blood, where you read 45 minutes of text and then you get a 1-round fight.
Oh my god.
And then you go back to another 15 minutes of text.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sure, if they're cheap to produce, that's awesome. More single player content is always better. Tekken Ball, for example, probably didn't cost much to make. You would have to be careful not to bloat the menu too much if you had a bunch of cheap sideshows. But if there's no cost, then why not? But if there is a cost, even if we assume you can somehow make such a mode and make it as good as the genre experts you're aping, it would still not be a value multiplier to the fighting game. Maybe you could get a bunch of Fire Emblem players to buy your game by putting a quality clone of that in your fighting game, but they still won't convert into fighting game players. For one, they are not necessarily the target market, but more importantly, there are absolutely no skill transfer between these modes. They don't feed into each other at all. They're entirely distinct experiences. At best, you've de-risked a little by bundling 2 games into one, but then how good of an idea does that sound? Imagine if every time you wanted to buy a chair, you had to buy a cabinet alongside it. But they're both furniture. Yeah, but I've already got a nice cabinet. This is what you're asking for when you put a beat 'em up inside a fighting game. It made some sense back when genres were less saturated and a sideshow of reusing 90% of your main game's asset could compete. Now it's just a bad product strategy.
I will say that I think that the fighting system that the main multiplayer mode is based on should be the core of that single player game as well, and we haven't seen it integrated into its most seamless and natural feeling, you know. And that if it is a completely different genre, it can still be cool, it can still be fun, but to offer a better fighting game product to people, I do understand the sentiment of the story mode that you're offering should be about that same system and not a completely separate thing. Right? That makes sense to me. I think we haven't seen enough people nailing that exact thing yet.
Yeah, the overlap is not perfect.
Steps in the right direction, right? You're not Tekken Force is a completely different game, right? It is a beat 'em up that is not Tekken at all. Whereas World Tour, you are getting into fights that are Street Fighter fights. but like, yeah, I think we can still go further to make that seamless. You know, again, the thing the people when you play Dark Souls multiplayer arena modes, you're using the same character and fighting in the same space that you're also fighting those big bosses and traversing through those stages. It's all, you're doing the same thing, you know.
True. What's needed from these single player modes is something that amplifies the fighting game genre, but with Street Fighter characters is as obvious an idea as it is useless. Genre, but where fighting game mechanics are centered, is much harder. World Tour does at least have some segments where it forces players to learn the main game, which elevates it above almost all other single player content in the genre, despite otherwise being lackluster. Aside from the aforementioned story mode, I can only think of 2 single player modes that would do this for fighting games. Both would be massive value multipliers, and surely others can come up with more.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Like, I also think that like a full package that offers a fuck ton for people to play and enjoy is incredible, and any Sakurai game always feels like you're getting more than you paid for. And the Subspace Emissary fucking rules.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, shout outs to Tekken, fucking Tekken Ball and Home Run Contest, and you know what I mean, shit like that. Like that's all really fun stuff too, you know. Although of course, like those are still in the system, whereas I'd say like Tekken Force is outside the system. You know?
Right. True. Yeah, no, I don't have much to add about over that actually. Yeah. First single player mode. Training routines, similar to rhythm game charts. Routines can vary from simple, block and punish a single move, to impossibly complex, defend with perfect miss strategy comprising reaction, fuzzies, option selects, optimal punishes, tight links. Routines are done in 2 to 10 minute sessions, and your performance is scored. The obvious examples are things like combo trials, anti-air practice, reversal punishes, throw break practice, but the range of possible routines is more or less limitless. But you can already do this, just set them up yourself in training mode. How fun would a rhythm game be if you had to make all the charts yourself? And you had to remake them every time you wanted to play. And there was zero feedback from the game about how well you performed. No high scores to compare your performance to other players. Sure, some people would find such a game fun, but most people won't bother with all that.
We already have the data that knows how to give you tips based on what you did. We already know how to make ghosts around your data. Why can't we use the game to straight up tell you, teach you in a way that's fun? 100%.
Training mode is a sandbox. Street Fighter 6 has an incredible training mode that more or less lets you set up anything at all with relative ease. But it's still a sandbox. It's not a game mode you can turn to when you burn out or want to break from ranked. On the contrary, using training mode properly, setting those routines up, picking the right routines, requires even more executive function than grinding ranked does. That's why it feels like a torture for so many people to use it at all. Why waste my gray matter on training mode when I could play ranked instead? Ditto for reviewing replays. Both are fantastic power user features, but they're not drawing people in to actually play the game for extended periods. Almost every element of a good rhythm game design could be incorporated into such a game mode, but it's a lot of work to get it right. How are the routines made? User generated or developer curated? How should the routine editor work? Does the player have to play as a specific character, or can routines be done by any character? If the latter, how do you handle characters having unique options to handle certain situations, or sometimes lacking standard options? What happens when patches break a routine? How do you evaluate performance? What sort of feedback should the player get while playing? These questions and many more need to be answered well. A tight loop and lots of feedback is essential to making this as brain-off as possible. The goal is to empower the player to train their body without having to think too much. This does, of course, require that the core game design is such that hard things actually exist, but I think even current generation fighting games have enough difficult things that such a mode would work well for them.
Yeah. I again described things like taking the idea of things like replay takeover, and then the notes that pop up in Tekken 8 that tell you like what's happening where and what you can learn from situations that you lost to or things you took hits in or etc., things you could have avoided, but making that part of a single player experience where it's like it's not just the menu at the end of a game over screen, but it's like there's a part of the single player experience that's also, if you're with your friends, like especially where you can all see that result, and it might even be like, hey, okay, you do this and then you try that, and then like the idea of the game being willing to explain some of the mistakes you're making, is a good one, and nobody does it. Again, Tekken 8 sort of started to do it, but you got to go to a thing and but it's really cool when it's there.
Second single player mode, dress up, character customization. This is a quickly growing and grossly underappreciated genre, probably because it appeals mostly to women, whereas most game developers are men. Dress to Impress has been the most popular game in Roblox for over 2 years now. Fighting games are perfectly positioned to tap into this emerging genre. Most other live service games have some fundamental reason why they can't. For first-person shooters, the player's character model isn't visible on screen at all. Third-person shooters are not much better, since all you can see is the back of the character. In MOBAs, the character models are too small to see the most details. Fighting games, on the other hand, have characters taking up as much space on the screen as possible at all times, viewed from side profiles and on both sides. These already exist to some extent, but they are for the most part not that interesting. Soul Calibur 6 has probably the best character customization in the genre, but even this is still dwarfed by Cold Vein. And both of these pale in comparison to Dress to Impress, which is kind of embarrassing. How are you losing on quality to a Roblox game?
Weird gender line aside, cosmetics are important, and I definitely think that you can the decision to allow customization versus full-on costumes is a big one, because like Tekken allows a whole lot of customization, but you 100% do lose the character identity inside of that. It might as well just be a Dark Souls character creator or so, or whatever, like it's a character creator, right? Your characters that don't
character creator at the expense of the character's true nature.
So Capcom doesn't want Ryu to not look like Ryu. Well, I mean, if Ken puts on the Rathalos armor, that's fine, because it's another Capcom product. But overall, they don't want you to put like Rathalos helmet on with the gi and then Captain Commando pants, or so. And like, I think that while I get the idea that like, the character identity is important or whatever, giving people more options and more customization, even if some of that is lost, or some of the identity of the character is lost there or whatever, it gives them more things to do in the game. It's just more options. It's more fun. It's for people that enjoy that, and
you feel like you did the thing and you're more invested. And
City of the Wolves with the recoloring was pretty decent as well. I'd say, like, letting you go make your own like, you can't put accessories on, but you can still like create your outfit and stuff. I thought that was a pretty nice, that was an elegant medium ground. They don't want like Terry with an astronaut's outfit on, but it looks like Terry, but you can give him the fucking Supreme drip if you want or whatever. I think that's a decent in between on it. But it is true that the more freedom you give people to play around with that stuff, that's another feature that you're giving, that you're selling. It adds dollar value to the thing.
And more dollar value, especially considering that the more customization options the user gets, the more you have to put rules. You can't have things that are offensive. You can't have like,
you got I saw fucking Hitler Brian Fury you know,
There
the
you
other
go.
day, right? Like
Yeah.
that's but the thing is though, you also are if you have people able to do whatever they want and customize and do all that stuff, and you still have a wedding dress Marissa available, right? And there's a reason to go get that, then I think you can offer both. But it is true that in a game like say 2XKO, a lot of those premium costumes don't mean as much if you could just mix and match. Like the way you dress up your avatar, if you could do that to the characters individually, the overall premium skin feels less necessary. You don't feel as much
Right.
FOMO to get it because you can kind of just mix and match and do your own custom thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so there is a monetary aspect there to it. But regardless, if we're talking about giving the player more, then objectively, a game like Tekken, where you can dress up piece by piece, is more product. Is you're offering more, and that is better.
Such a game mode, if done right, if there's enough substance that people who like the genre take it seriously instead of mostly being used to make giant cubes and hideous monstrosities, would tie in well with the social features mentioned earlier. The problem, dressed to impress faces, is that players are only really able to show off their creations to other like-minded players. They can't exist in any broader context. So a lot of these players spend more time in MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV instead, despite it having fairly underdeveloped dress-up features. It gives a social context for their creations to exist in. Putting the dress-up game inside a fighting game with good social features solves that problem entirely. Sweaty ranked players would love to have someone who can make tasteful customs, join their clan, and make customs for them. Players live spectating other people doing stuff, ranked training mode routines, could have their own custom character appear in the background, giving a meaningful social context for their creations to exist in. Also, all of those fighting game animations and model rigs are basically emotes but on steroids. Even Fortnite can compete with this ability to make a character custom come alive.
Mm-hmm. I will say that if you do in the end opt not to allow customization, that is a valid way to go, but then you need to offer a fuck ton of skins. So Marvel Rivals, right? You need to be able to go into the characters options and see a ton of different skins and variants that you can pick from if you choose to not offer the ability to like fine-tune their limbs and individual parts. And I think if you know, again, in Rivals, there's so many skins and so much going on there that, or League of Legends has a fuck ton of skins as well, that it's like the ability to go in and fine tune and customize and whatever it doesn't feel like it's as lacking, you know. But again, not every fighting game is going to be like, hey, create your fighter, now go into this world. So I don't know. That's at least how I think about it.
Yeah. I don't want everybody to have a Blanca skin with like the big feathers and everything, you know? But I think it would be fun to be able to customize the characters.
And you're not drawn in by skins, as we've discussed with like previous games.
It takes a lot for me to take out the card for a skin.
Cosmetic.
I'm about the functions, you know?
Yeah.
And if the base character looks rad, I'm like, I'll accept it as is, you know? I'm not the kind of person that goes like, oh, this is not other thing or that exists, you know? I'm not gonna complain like that. You know?
I mean, you can even be bold and make an option like City of the Wolves has custom colors off.
Okay, yeah.
And if you don't want to see custom colors on people, it can just default to one of the predetermined colors on your end, even though someone has the costume on their
I
end.
didn't even know that was an option.
You can turn them off.
Cool.
It's an option.
Fighting games are bad products, not bad games. The genre's 25-year fixation on core game mechanics has been an endless distraction to avoid facing this reality. What I've suggested here are only starting points, virtual spaces fit for the online era that recapture the arcade's social environment, not its physical one. Story modes that teach instead of pander, and single-player modes that amplify rather than distract. There are surely other angles I haven't considered.
Oh yeah, sorry. Street Fighter 6 lets you force a costume for a character you're fighting as well in fighting grounds. Yeah, sorry.
What I most want to get across is this: until fighting game developers start thinking about their games as products that are competing in a broader gaming market, and understand that in this context they have fallen way behind, nothing is going to change. But if they overcome this, they won't be fighting for scraps over the tiny pie that is the current FGC. They'll be growing the pie and getting the biggest slice for themselves. The industry is being taken over by challenging games with 2A, AA budgets and a laser focus on their target audience. And fighting games are a perfect fit for that. What do you think? Has this given you some new perspective on how fighting games can evolve as products? Do you have other ideas for single player modes that would be a value multiplier, not just a sideshow to the rest of the game?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that is
bad products, not bad games.
Yeah, okay. Ultimately, the core is something I definitely agree with, and echoes something that I have said. Yeah, that is that you wanna capture that social aspect and find the right way to make sure that people who are jumping onto this game for the first time get a chance to experience that. And if they don't have, if you're in an environment where you don't have people to play with, or you don't have others around, or there's restrictions to that, you want there to still be enough of an experience they can have on their own outside of jumping on ranked, you know,
Yeah.
or jumping into the training mode. Like, you 100%, that's been sorely missing. That being said, the person who doesn't have anyone around and is going to play in an offline environment, or doesn't have any friends to jump onto these things with, or to jump and play together with, is still going to have the frustration of practicing the tuba alone, as I've mentioned. You know, like, that part is going to suck. And you can't make a situation to, like, that is what comes with playing solo. You know.
Yeah. How when you think of like FPS and MOBAs,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really talk about training mode or going solo.
No. There's a single player campaign in a lot of FPS games,
Yeah.
but for training mode, you got to go to that website there, the Aim Trainer or whatever.
Yeah, get them aim labs on Steam
Aim Labs,
or whatever.
Yeah, you know, for sure.
And for MOBAs,
I have no idea, but I do.
You can load a solo game with nothing
So,
and just
I was
attack creeps.
Well, I was told that there's a coaching mode where you and a person that's higher ranked, if you're a beginner, you get paired up with a high ranked person, and they can be like a sensei.
Okay.
And then there's bot games, I guess. Yeah.
MOBAs have bot games. Okay. So
Then again, so do shooters. Some third-person and first-person shooters have bot games that you play a few rounds of before you get online with real people.
and that's the closest they have to like a pure training mode, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you load up a single-player mode in one of these first-person shooters, and there's a training range in the beginning. Titanfall 2, you know, you load up, you do the gauntlet, it shows you how guns work, and you do a little training mode thing.
Okay.
Apex, even, which has no single player, has a training mode thing that it does have, that to show you like a training range, to show you guns and to show you how things work or whatever.
Okay.
But it is not as emphasized as much as it is in fighting games, for sure. And I think, like, yeah, the training mode element being like, a lot of people don't
like, I'm thinking of like the tuba playing solo.
Mm-hmm.
We have that in fighting games, but I guess it's not as prevalent in other genres. If you're playing Dark Souls, just fucking go. If you're playing a shooter, just fucking go.
Yeah, well, people don't. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that don't want that or care for that, or so. But at the same time, I think we have come from a place where just fucking go was the arcades, and when we got to where we are now, like, just fucking go was the problem a lot of people were having, where they're like, I don't know how to just fucking go. And it was like, oh, is it the thing of the sticker around the sides of the screen? so that wasn't really an answer.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is a overcorrection in that sense, you know. Now you like labbing and I like labbing regardless, because we like figuring out the systems of, but in terms of like onboarding somebody,
Yeah, onboarding is a different story.
the whole training mode thing was because there was no way to understand what was happening for a whole lot of people coming into these games.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to where we are, you know. I think other genres, it was kind of like more, it was just more emergent. You just jump online, you start shooting guns, and then you learn in the field or so, or whatever the case is. But like there weren't people walking up to a arcade machine, getting thrown into a deathmatch game, not knowing what anything was for a while, and kind of like forced to learn the ropes that way, you know. It's it's one of those genre legacy things that we're now in the phase of overcorrection on, and then you can still improve on it and stuff. What I will say is that I don't know if there is a single genre that has more introspection on the state of its existence than fighting games.
Nothing comes close.
It is the only video game genre that has this much discourse about the health of its state of existence. I don't know any other genre that cares this much to talk about how the genre is doing, because people are just playing them.
Nobody goes, why aren't people playing more shooters?
They're just playing them. They're just playing them.
Or hating.
Yeah. Yeah. But then that's the part of this where I'm like, I am really getting like, the discourse. It's like, okay, I thought this was an interesting one to bring up, and that's why, you know, I sent it your way.
Yeah.
It is. There's some stuff there that I don't agree with, and there's some stuff there that gets a little lost.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff that does
some
make
key
sense.
Points that
I ultimately
do
agree with, that I've been saying for a long time.
The martial arts lens was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think we can disregard all of that aspect, but it did bring up a few interesting points. Yeah.
But it absolutely, like, yeah, I do have this feeling that is like, I want a lot of these things to get better, and I want to see that happen, and I hope that does occur. We've had this discussion, but just to reiterate, there is no savior, there is no messiah.
No.
There needs to. It is silly to believe that.
I think it's been proven over time that there is no messiah.
There is no messiah. Stop believing in a messiah for the genre. We got what we got here. Well, we got what we got. I'm happy to play and enjoy what's fun with what exists, and if something addresses these issues, there's a strong chance it will be way more successful than previous fighting games have been. I don't know that it would ever be like, oh, this is taking over the video game space, you know what I mean? I remember the discussion back in the day about like, well, 2 characters fighting in 2 life bars is the easiest to understand thing to look at as a spectator sport, so there's no reason why that can't carry. And it's like, yeah, true, but it's it's been tainted. It's like the well has been spiked, you know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of a legacy to the shit that sucks, and the confusing aspect, and the people that have been turned off in the past, that like if you're gonna try to win them over again, you're playing a game of like sprinkling the little bread for the ducks. I'm like, no, it's safe to come back. It's safe to come back. It's okay. And you're just kind of like, yeah.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Right? That ain't gonna work for some people. It's just done, and it is what it is, you know. So, that's it.
Yeah. No, that was a good discussion, I find. Yeah. Hey, if you enjoyed this talk, if you have questions, leave a comment below and a thumbs up. If you have suggestions on how to save fighting games,
Oh, we're hitting it with that. Yeah, we're hitting it with that.
I'm all ears, personally.
Yeah. And this was an article that popped up on cthor.me. So that is cthor.me is where this article came from. Yeah. It really is like there is that part of me that's like, yeah, I am getting really tired of discussing the health.
Yep,
you know,
forever and ever. Forever
like we just
and
did
ever.
today instead of playing.
and it's crazy because sometimes it's like we're like, oh, fighting games have a problem, and sometimes it's like, no, this fighting game has a problem, and it takes over everything. Like, damn, I'm guilty as charged. I complained about Street Fighter V a bunch.
Well, I mean, because the shit fucking had massive problems, and it had massive problems because the fucking budget, the money was stolen. Yeah, you know.
I did contribute to that mood of hater.
Yeah.
And now that I'm past Street Fighter V,
but the product had a problem. So that's
the problem. Had problems at the beginning.
So that's valid.
Yeah. And now at the end, it was good. And way after, I'm like, I'm just not gonna talk about it because I don't want to spread hate, you know. But the game is good at the end, but it was too late. You did so much damage at the beginning that this is how the air is now. It's stinky.
Yeah.
There's like divisiveness. There's like people are divided over the genre, and people are divided inside the genre. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. They are.
It's heartbreaking.
Are there any genres where you are the person going, I don't understand this shit's too hard for me, too technical, and you have like people that are like trying to get you in and it's kind of niche? Like, you know what I mean? You know, the person who's like, I'm lost here, how do I get into this? And then like they're getting kind of pushed away or turned off. MOBAs?
Like anything else, like StarCraft?
Yeah. Oh, strategy in
RTS
general?
and MOBAs.
RTS and MOBAs in
like
general.
League of Legends and StarCraft. Everything else, like the tactical stuff, I'm like, what is happening?
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that requires strategy, actually, I'm dumb.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Strategy games are fun. You know, turn-based ones I definitely enjoy. You know, when I can take my time and think it out.
Fighting game player, you love to take your turn, you know. It's like it's my time.
But I definitely did feel overwhelmed playing. So I've told this many times before, but like Warcraft 3 introduced to the hero system, where one of your heroes was like a little MOBA character in the middle of RTSing
of everything,
and I was like, I couldn't. It was just too much for me. I felt super overwhelmed by keeping up with the hero's individual progression in the middle of keeping up with my base and expansion and all that stuff. And like, I think it was like at that point you're supposed to be so comfortable with base building and expansion that to make it more interesting, they put a particular hero to be like, and here's another thing to focus on, you know. And so you got your little touch of like League MOBA, one character on an isometric view that you're controlling on the map while the rest of the game is happening. But for me, it was just too much, you know, and that I ended up bouncing off the game as a result of that, I think. Okay. I wonder what opinions people have.
I'm curious.
Water Stealer, have either of you tried Stealthy Potatoes cocktail recipes? Came up with the Red Flags Love, and I wanted to know what you thought of it. I have not.
Oh, that was you. I see. I got a message from Pop-Tart Kitty saying that people are making drinks off of us or something.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen this yet, so I'm not sure.
I have not tried it.
Interesting. Mr. Saps, how you doing? I'm teaching, and earlier this month I told the class I play grapplers. I looked out and I saw a few students shake their heads and look aghast.
Yes, the children are our future.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that they even get it. That's phenomenal. Leon No Squall, how you doing? Sucks to see Bluepoint go and find out from the VOD. Been so busy with real life. Also sucks to see some people cheer for people losing their jobs because they didn't like a remake. Makes me lose faith in humanity sometimes. All right, well, I mean, hold on a minute. Video games. All right. Just chill. But also, yeah, that's stupid. Bluepoint they made good shit, and anyone cheering for that is stupid because you're watching the industry crash, and popping champagne bottles while it crashes is not going to give you more of what you want. Kim's Pants, how you doing? To clarify, KOF 14 wasn't a success because it allowed 15 to exist. 14 was literally SNK's Final Fantasy that if it failed, they were going back to pachinko. It was literally made with less than a year as their pachinkos closed. It revived their games department. Right. This switch over to 3D and to after the expensive but dire but beautiful sprites. 14 was a cheap game that focused more on just characters and systems, and yeah, I get that. I was not happy to see it when it got announced, but I understand that, like,
you're like, oh. Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you know,
when you know how many resources are involved to make sprites.
I know. I'm upset because I wish the world wasn't the way it was.
Yeah.
Third Strike.
Yeah.
Not practical.
Yeah.
Mark of the Wolves, not practical. Beautiful sprites are not practical. I wish they were, but it sucks that they're not. Because the KOF 14 models looked like simple 2000 fucking whatever PS2 silly model character. Like the 3D models looked really bad.
Yeah. And
to go from the most gorgeous sprites I've ever seen to some of the worst 3D models, worst whatever, bland, versions of these characters, I kind of was just like, God damn it. But yeah. It allowed the franchise to continue for sure. Mm-hmm. I did like Samurai Showdown for going for something a more bold with its models, and Mark of the Wolves, City of the Wolves did that as well. So both of those games are much more stylized. But I feel like 14 was like the first take at it, and you can go look at like things like Nakaruru's model across multiple games and see just like how much worse it was back then, so GGB, how you doing? That article reminds me of how fighters downsized on content in PS3 era and haven't really bounced back. Sucks that this discussion always comes from the FGC looking down on casual players and content as opposed to critiquing the content we've had. I don't think it always comes from that place, GGB. In fact, a lot of what I think we end up talking about here is from the point of view of a brand new player coming in casually, like I think that's the lifeblood. I think you can't ignore that for sure. I think that the type of shit that we enjoy and why we enjoy that stuff, you do get there eventually, but that has nothing to do with what's appealing to someone outright, and that's why when I critique something like Tokon after playing it, I'm like, fuck, here's a great opportunity because everything is on point for the style and characters and mood and you know what I mean? Like, presentation wise, it all is fucking fire and has everyone's attention. So you just don't want to have that thing where, like, and if you stick with it long enough, eventually it doesn't go the distance, because it could go the distance, but you don't want to see like little easy to fix or trip mistakes that you trip over while having all the ability to get people's attention in, right? there's a reason why I have a fucking anger in my heart at the Mortal Kombat franchise, even when they make ones that are better than others, even when there's versions of the game that are like, yeah, that was more fun and had stuff that I liked. There's that part of me that just hates the fact that, you know, someone described it as the Mortal Kombat is the fighting game for gun and ball gamers. You know, and you're like, yeah, like you get everyone on board and then you don't do anything with it. You know, you throw a big party once every couple of years and then you peace out. And I wish you didn't just peace out. I wish you did something with it. I wish you built something that was stable and found a way to harness that, you know, and not just go like, okay, we pieced out, and then you come back and go, no, wait, Halloween fatality. All right, now we're gone. You know, God, hate that shit, man. It's so wild talking to like Hayate, you know, and watching like one of the best Mortal Kombat players in the world who like gets incredible at those games despite fighting against he has to fight against like not just community but like the game itself and the developers themselves to get good in spite of the game.
Yeah.
You know? Wild. KYH9, what's up? Thank you for the support. I've been thinking about social spaces in fighting games and a bit, and it occurs to me that the issue may be in endlessly trying to emulate the arcade. I think maybe starting from an online space first approach, like looking at Team Fortress 2 servers.
I don't know how these looks.
What does that mean? Because we were just talking about this, and it's not about emulating the arcade is something that I think that idea is one that people that know the genre are emphasizing because we know that that can be fun and they want to show you how that can be fun. But the core goal there, even if it's not emulating the arcade, is, like I said, you and some friends playing together, right? Even if it's not cabinets and whatever. But what specifically is the Team Fortress 2 server setup that you're describing? I'm curious what you mean by that, because why would that necessarily be?
Is it that like everything is online? Like in the
mix
article?
Of Discord server and your own unique playstyles. They're endlessly customizable. So just like lots of like use map settings style ways to play the game, basically. People playing it in a lot of different modes. I mean, first of all, that only works when like you have a huge population count, right? Custom maps, custom modes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for starters, that does not work when there's not as many people around. When you have an endless amount of people on a game because it's already very popular, then you can start, you know, splitting things open and stuff. But and it's also like it's difficult because I guess any game that does, I don't know what competitive Team Fortress 2 looks like per se, but I do know that anytime there is not that it's the emphasis point, mind you, but when there is a competitive mode to something, I think that bleeding down from that point are going to be like serious modes and serious rooms and stuff. And like, okay, I'm making a lot of assumptions about what I just read there, but like Street Fighter 6 has wacky mode. Mm-hmm. Here's a fucking
with the bombs
metet and the bombs and the electricity and the
yeah.
But that's all, you know, and the bull running by or whatever, but that's all like just kind of party mode nonsense ultimately. Like a lot of people don't really show up for that per se. I don't know that custom mode, custom setting stuff, what you're describing, is what most people are showing up to fighting games for. I think people, I mean, if you want to go up there and the martial arts the martial artist movie or whatever, it doesn't have to be a martial artist movie, but cool people fighting, doing cool shit is the core of the idea. But I don't know that like the custom use map settings sort of thing is what people are necessarily looking for. I don't fully
Okay, so
see
maybe I think users can have their own servers and people can search for different servers and join servers.
Okay, but what would be on those servers? I'm joining a server that has specific rules that make it so that you have endless meter. Like what are we doing in those servers? I actually also think 2XKO was on the cusp of solving another issue, which is the word of mouth issue. Team shooters and MOBAs benefit from being able to play alongside friends where you're aided, not impeded, by a friend's greater experience. Yeah, playing together, for sure. GGB Part 2. What's up? Even though casual players outnumber the FGC, every YouTuber I know is someone who's focused on tourneys, then dipped into casual stuff like Max and Guile, or people who do good casual work but still mash like Thorgy or Babe Ruth. Shout out to them though. Yeah, hell yeah. I think yeah, I mean I think it's like competing and making content is very, very difficult, and I think anybody that keeps up in both is fucking a beast. But like there's often moments where you have to choose kind of one or the other, you know, and you can just sort of stream your training process overall, but there's a limit to how appealing that's going to be versus kind of just trying out a bunch of different stuff and trying to, you know, have fun with it, and how appealing that'll be to, you know, brand new audiences and stuff. So in any case, cool. Okay, well that took most of the day.
Well, that was a fun game. We discussed stuff. We watched some gaming news.
Do we have time for anything or nah? Should we just chill? How are we looking? Let's see. How you feeling?
I am feeling okay.
We can jump into some random shit for a minute. 2XK duos, Fightcade. Let's see. The only problem with Fightcade is like every time you load something up, like the buttons are not. We're gonna have to go through a whole button thing. Do you have any strong feelings one way or the other?
There's an infinity of options. Like
okay.
Chat is throwing names as well. I saw at least 15 games mentioned.
Okay, let's see.
I saw Third Strike, I saw 2XKO, I saw Grand Blue.
Grand Blue. What is even going on in Grand Blue? God damn.
I have no clue.
I think I'd have to download too many characters, and I think that update would take a while actually before I got ready for that.
Iridium is like, Mod alert, play VF5.
Virtua Fighter 5. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Touch that. I got Fightcade open here. Sticks plugged in. Rival Schools. Breaker's Revenge. Sorry, I am
Browsing.
I'm facing choice paralysis here. Did I have any weird shit over here? Well, no, I need to do some confirmation before we do boot that up. Okay. All right. You know what? Here, give me a second. Quick bathroom break, and we'll figure something out. All right. BRB.
Be right back.
All right, y'all. Actually, I think I'm going to wrap it up and go hang out with my baby. So, apologies for that. In the end,
Sorry for the tease.
yes, have a big old day talking about fighting games and playing them, and then we didn't actually fucking play any. But I'm gonna go do that. So, all good. We will catch you guys next week. I guess stuff's going on. Podcast on Tuesday, and we're gonna continue with Claire Obscure and check out some new stuff as well. Had fun with Romeo Must Die. I keep saying Romeo Must Die, but whatever. Romeo Must Die, and Eugenics. But yeah, I think we got the ability to check out some other stuff as well, and push forward to the ending of Expedition 33 as we're getting close. Right. So be sure to go check that out. Versus Wolves, Castle Super Beast, all that stuff. Peep us on
YouTube,
exactly.
WoolieVersus the algorithm,
etc., and so on and so forth. All right. Sorry, I see 2 more messages. Just want to get those quick. Intuit Turbo Butts. In terms of concise approachability, sorry, 1 second. In terms of franchise approachability, marketability, Remedy Games' weakness is that when someone says, well, Control 2 looks cool, but then they think they have to play every other Remedy game rather than just Control, makes it look like homework. Well, that's just the concept of a franchise, right? People always want to know, like, are things related to the other things? Is this all story tied in and does it matter? Or is it... Yeah, I mean, you're describing literally just the issue with all IPs in general. I don't think it's specific to Remedy, especially because they think things do tie in, right? Now's the best time to get into insert franchise here. And KYH9, I also think some discussion about whether fighting games even have an issue or problem is warranted. Like, if it's a question of popularity, what level of popularity are we expecting versus reality? That I do agree with. There is a level of this where you eventually go, yeah,
it's not for everyone,
But what I will say is, whenever a game like shuts down, you're going to get that, because it's just, this is the way discourse happens, right? If the mic blows out suddenly here and then it's like, oh, there's an issue, and then I go, hey, I'm gonna go fix the mic stuff, then we're gonna be talking about like the audio setups, right? If whenever something happens, it's a reason to kind of go, like, get around and do a dissection of it. And 2XKO is not dead, but certainly firing half the team has led to a like dissection of like what's going on, and especially the feelings of like Project L for over the years. So a lot of people did think that like the League of Legends fighting game would be like the Messiah, which again there is none. But yeah, there is a level of this that is like, do you even have to do this? And it's like, not if you just want to enjoy yourself and just play these games and chill. Like if you're just content to just like not over fucking think it and whatever, like that is a very simple, like, you can be unbothered, moisturized, based, chilling in your corner, just playing your game, and no one can take that away from you, and that's a valid way to be. I will say that, like, yeah, it does. Boy, it's just a lot of this is going in circles after a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? So you kind of just wonder if it's even fruitful to do that, especially when you don't have the ability or necessarily mechanisms to go make those changes yourself. At a certain point, you want to be able to go make those changes, if you're in the space, in the game design space or whatever. But if you don't have those mechanisms, you can just talk about it forever, and then we're back to square one. So all right, take it easy, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. At the end of the day, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Yeah.
Thumbs up. Hope.
Yeah. The best games already exist, and you can always go play them. Take it easy, everybody.